on time. Good evening and welcome to anybody and everybody waiting. There might not be anybody just yet. I'm just going to have a look and see because we have a very special guest. And that special guest, as you can see, is Fake Mike Real News. Hello.
Thank you. I don't know what your criteria for special is. Maybe it's
We've not
whatever
been
it is.
on before.
We're all special, so I'll take it. We're all special. Grim, it's a pleasure, man. I want everybody to share this video, and I want everybody to know before we proceed that Grim is a great dude, man. He's a hard worker. He's always doing something. Literally, whether you see him on screen here, as many of you do, or maybe you guys are in the Telegram chat or working behind scenes. Grim is not just helping himself; he's helping a lot of other projects and a lot of other people that we'll discuss later. But guys, do your part. Make sure you share this video. Share all. Sorry.
That's absolutely fantastic. We've got Mrs. J in now. So, hello, Mrs. J. I believe I sent
Mrs.
you a
J,
link
what
if
up?
you
I
want
love
to
Mrs. J. Everybody says, Miss J, get your patootie in here. Yeah, I want to say thank you again too. I haven't had a chance to tell my followers that Mrs. J is the one that made that awesome intro for my channel. Everyone's really loving it, and so thank you to Mrs. J. But yes, as I was going to say, because Mr. Reaper, he's a little modest. He cut me off because I was being too nice to him. But I'm not being too nice to him. I'm telling him the truth. Share his videos. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications and take whatever your favorite Grim Reaper radio video is or episode of his podcast and get it out, or his radio show. Get it out to people and say, hey, have you heard this? Send it on Facebook, text message, whatever. Get the word out there. Let's help Grim grow. He's putting a lot of hard work, and we're only growing this community. So make sure you guys support Grim Reaper. Tell all your family and friends and even your worst enemies about Grim.
Well, tell anyone, I don't mind whatsoever. At the end of the day, I spend a lot of time on this side of the pond doing things, and because I've got a stupid sleep pattern, I end up talking to people over in the States as well because there's a 5 hour difference. So as far as I can see, as a network, we win hands down, and I've been trying to get you on here. Hello, Mrs. J.
And I always feel weird, right? Because oh man, we got the king here, Eyes on the Audit. Oh man, Eyes on the Audit showed up in my dream last night. I had a weird dream that I told before.
No way.
It was a weird dream. It wasn't anything sexual. Eyes on the Audit. Sorry to get your hopes down, or your hopes up. But yeah, weird dream, man. Weird dream last night. We were being bombed. I was at my grandma's house, and there's people all over trying to get to safety. Man, that was a weird dream. But one more thing about Mr. Grim Reaper here that a lot of people may or may not know. He's being selfish right now. Rasta Ralph, what fat belly detective. He's being selfish right now. Some of you may not know. Grim Reaper has some of the best hair I've ever seen on a male or female or any gender for that matter. And he's being selfish now, and he's hiding that luxurious hair. But he said, "Hey, Will, I don't care about the ladies. I'm just gonna hide my hair." So there it is. Sorry, ladies.
Oh, I don't know. I just said it's a bit
Oh,
blue.
whoa. Here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Blue Movie Show. Sorry. I shouldn't do things like that and upset Mrs. J.
I just had a nightmare.
I quite like that one.
The Blue Shit Show.
You know me, I won't be doing that, but I will do stuff like this. This is all you're getting, folks. This is all you're getting.
Oh man, Mrs. J has cool hair too. The thing is, the only difference is Mrs. J colors her hair a little bit, which is cool.
I do.
I haven't seen her in purple hair yet. I would like to see Grim in purple hair with that maybe like a one purple streak. Be cool.
I think that'd be good.
Now you're asking too much.
All right.
You can have a couple of grey streaks. I've already
Okay.
got those.
I'll do purple around my birthday.
I've been told. Not that I would know.
So there
Hi.
are a few people who probably don't realise that we do have in our presence here hashtag I am Ron L. Ron Hubbard. I'll get it
Yeah.
right in a second.
This is
Right.
true.
Very
Now,
true.
I don't know where this hashtag business came from, but
No
from my point of
idea.
view, I just think it's pretty good. Hashtag I am L. Ron Hubbard. Mellows, your device is not connecting, unfortunately, so try again. Oh,
You have
he's
to
here.
land an aircraft carrier. That's it.
You watched my video.
Yes. Do you want your camera on or off, sir? Yeah, it's your choice. Do you know?
Can you do me a favour, everyone? Can you like and share and subscribe and all of that shenanigans? Let's get this out there. Let's
Right, I'm bringing you on, Mellows.
Everyone, can share and all that stuff.
Right, do apologise for the interference we're about
Yes,
to receive.
Mellows. Oh yeah.
Oh, I like it like
How are we going?
this.
How are we doing?
Great.
I'm over the moon.
Lovely.
I've just remembered something. I had a meeting at 6 o'clock. Oops! I think I missed it. I forgot about it.
It was
Never
yesterday.
There was one yesterday. I thought it was today.
Or the day
We were
before.
maybe going to have one, but I slept until like 15 minutes of the thing. I was like, I'll put you guys up when I woke up early, was puttering around. Then I was like, I need to go back to sleep, man. I haven't slept in like years. Went to sleep, had a terrible dream, woke up 15 minutes before. Thought everyone was dead. So luckily, we're not all dead yet. That's great.
We're okay. We're still here.
Yeah, we just got the landing aircraft below me. Or is it taking off? I'm not sure. How are you doing, Mellows?
I'll mute up. I'm
No,
good.
you don't need
I'm
to
good.
mute up.
How's everyone?
Check how you are.
Yeah. Good day, really. I've been asleep.
Right.
Good.
As we got fake Mike, real news on Will Turbot, I just want to ask him a few questions, because he never really gets stars on here.
Well,
one day we'll get one, but
one day. But in the meantime, this is who you get.
In the meantime, Will is very graciously standing in for a star. That's not true. He is a star in his own right. He does his own First Amendment audits over in the States, which I'm sure you're all aware of what a First Amendment audit is. Why did you start filming and standing up for your rights?
Well,
so to speak.
I've been an activist for a long time. I'll give you a condensed version, as condensed as I possibly can give it. One day in the year 2002, I went to the DMV, and if you're from a different part of the country or a different part of the world, that stands for the Division of Motor Vehicles, and that's where we have to go to ask the government permission to drive on the roads that we already have the right to travel and we've already paid for. So, of course, government sucks at service. So we go in, I take a ticket, I'm with my friends and my ex-girlfriend. We take a ticket, we go across the street to smoke one of these bad boys because we know it's going to take like 2 hours before they freaking call our name. We go across the street, and then I don't even know where this came from, but then I started talking about the dollar bill. I started talking about the small owl on the dollar bill. I talked about the 13, and for whatever reason, I don't know where I got this from. I said the word Illuminati. Then I forgot about that for a while, and I went to go work out, put on an album to work out to, and that CD was called Wu-Tang Forever, and Wu-Tang Forever is a double disc CD, and one of the songs that I played was entitled Impossible by Wu-Tang Clan, far and away the best hip-hop group of all time. And in this song, they talk about third eyes, they talk about vaccines, they talk about microchips, and then they also say, plug people on some hardcore body shit, get yourself together for the effing Illuminati. And I said, holy crap, there's that word again, Illuminati. Fast forward to like 05, 06, when YouTube was a different place, and I love YouTube.
Do you want to mute up, Mellows?
I typed in Illuminati, and I listened to everything that everyone. I watched every single video on the Illuminati, and there were different people there talking, making different claims, and talking about different books. So I bought those books, and I spent the next 2 or 3 years vigorously researching those claims. And they were mainly surrounding 9/11 and the Bohemian Grove. Anybody doesn't know? First of all, 9/11 was not what they told us, and it took me 3 years to come to grips with that. And then also, I found out that the Bohemian Grove exists, and that's a place where our presidents here in the United States go dress up like KKK members and carry torches and do a mock human sacrifice. And so that really all blew me away. So I spent the next few years researching and thinking, okay, there's something really weird going on here. And so I researched the crap out of it. And then I was like, well, I don't know what to do about this. One man's not going to change this stuff. So I held some meetings, and people would come to the meetings, and I'm like, well, what do we do, guys? This is that. What do you think? What do you think about all this? And then after that, I started doing my own activism. My own activism at the time was going to events, going to protests, showing things. Then I got a small radio show. And then from there, I'd always, I would go to events like Bilderberg or something like that, and there would be cops there. I wasn't really after the cops as much, but they would be there. I would be more concerned with the Bilderberg people, but the cops would be there too. I give them a mouthful. I try to be nice at first, but I give them a mouthful. But it wasn't until about 2018, 2019 that, I know what cop watching was. I'd done that a little before, but until I met Auditing America in 2018, 2019, I saw him on the local newspaper, and I was like, who is this guy? I know all the activists here in Rhode Island. So I had a mutual friend introduce us. I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. He's like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I didn't completely get it. I went out with him. The first night I went out with him, we got arrested in Woonsocket. And then I was like, yeah, I don't know if I really want to do this. What's the point of this? But since then, him and I had worked together on quite a number of different videos, because wherever I go to find politicians to protest, invariably there will be cops there. So then I realized over the time that cops are actually much, much stupider and really don't know. Like, you think that, well, cops, they might not know a few things, but they're good overall. Probably, yeah, there's some corruption, but there's going to be some good guys in there. And surely it can't be as bad as these people are thinking. Well, I spent the last 3 years traveling this country, finding out cops don't know the law. They routinely will violate people's rights on camera. According to a recent study, they don't solve 98% of major crimes. According to 2 studies, they're 40% more likely to abuse their partners. So, and then we're paying them billions of dollars. So it was kind of more than just like an overnight thing. It was kind of a gradual thing. And the way I've always looked at things to kind of sum this up is, I'm willing to do any and everything nonviolent to try to change the system. Some people say, well, don't focus on the cops because they're just cops. They're just follow orders. Well, if we remind enough police officers that your orders are the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and can get them to disobey these illegal orders from the Republicans and Democrats here in the United States, then we wouldn't be in this problem. Because without police, without the violent armed thugs of the government, politicians would just be idiots with bad ideas and no one would follow them. However, unfortunately, they have the police and the military right there ready to make sure we follow any illegal order that they offer us. And one more part I would say about this: during my journey, I realized when I was learning this stuff, I had someone say, hey, somebody I was listening to say, hey, now that you know this, now that you know. And at that point, I knew, because I'd done the research. I didn't just take what a conspiracy theorist said online. I went and did my own research. It took me years to do it. And once I realized that, and then someone saying, hey, now that you know something, you have a responsibility to your fellow man. You have to do something. This is your responsibility. And I took that very serious. And so, like I said, I'm just trying to do any and everything possible I can to wake up as many people as possible, and hopefully change the current paradigm we're living under to something more altruistic and freedom centric.
Yeah, it sounds to me that you have the same sort of situation that we find with the police over here. I'm just wondering if they just got one employer. They're employed by different areas, but ultimately there's one employer that's paying the bills, shall we say. And although we pay taxes, they get wages from through the government for the so-called work that they do. Um, I won't say that all of them are bad. I would just say the majority of them are, because if they witness something, they see something, if they don't report it, they're just as bad. Even if they don't abuse your rights, they're just as bad. And same goes across the pond here as well. So I think there's quite a bit there in common. And that's the real reason why auditors go out there and do things. It's not for clicks and views. It's not to cause problems within communities. It's all about education. And the more the people that get out there and do it, the better. But you've also interviewed some famous people during your time when you've been auditing. Didn't you get in to see presidential candidates?
Yeah. So
Mr. Bin Laden.
So we've confronted and interviewed candidates for president. So the candidates for president that we've interviewed that were actually candidates for president were John McAfee, rest in peace, F in the chat for John McAfee, Adam Kokesh, and Joe Jorgensen, all of which ran under the Libertarian banner. And we were lucky enough, I believe it was in 2016, for the first time for the Libertarian Party to ever have a televised debate. It was on Fox Business, and both McAfee and Kokesh took part in that. And to me, I'll take McAfee, Kokesh, or Jorgensen over Bush, Clinton, Hillary, Trump, any of those idiots, any day, anytime. But the other people that were not so much interviews, more confrontations. We've confronted Hillary Clinton a couple times, Bill Clinton. We've confronted Biden at least 4 times, Kamala Harris. I got into an event to confront Trump, spent like 5 hours outside waiting to get in to be one of the first people in. And as soon as I walked through security, they made me walk through security and get the check first. And they said, you talking to Mr. America, get out of here. You've been kicked out. I'm like, dog, we just waited 5 hours. Who's kicking us out? What are you talking about? They knew who we were, and they knew we were going to own Trump because Enrique had already caught him on video once. So I guess they knew who we were. So unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to own Trump a second time. I've never been able to own Trump, unfortunately. I've also went to the Bush's properties as well, too, and audited them. So, yeah, it's not just the police. I would encourage all auditors to audit everybody up and down the chain of command, if you will.
I mean, I just thought from experience point of view, when you get to interview presidential candidates, etc., or high office officials, even, I think it's always good when you come out smiling the other side. Unfortunately, with Trump and his gang, you weren't able to get much through the front door, really. But hey, I suppose that's the way it goes, mate. You'll get your time. But to be on a list, a band, so to speak, you must be making waves over there.
Well, I'd like to think so. For a while, in doing this for so many years, I was really wondering, am I even having an effect? But I'm proud to say there's been at least a dozen that I know people for sure, and probably more. But I helped at least wake them up a little bit, and that was always my goal. Even if I just woke up one person, that's all I'm really trying to do, is to try to get people to keep an open but skeptical mind, use the Socratic method, be nonviolent, And I'm just telling people, don't even trust me. Don't even trust my word on anything. Just take a look at this information that's out here that you may not have seen, and make up your own mind about things. Because when they're on the TV, they're telling you what to think. They're telling
Yep.
you, CNN, MSNBC, Tucker Maddow, they're telling you what to think. And more often than not, they're not showing you the proof. I do my best to try to show you guys the evidence so that people can make up their own minds. That's all I really want to do. I don't want to teach anybody anything. I want people to learn shit from themselves.
Which is the best way. We always advise people, if you're not sure, do a bit of research. You find out yourself quite easily. There's enough information out on the net and in libraries as well. But don't take a camera into a library. You get told off.
No, he didn't say that. No, it was a long time ago. Way before. So Wu-Tang Gang, yeah.
And you know what else?
I worked with them about 4 years ago.
Oh my God, you're gonna tell that story. I just want to say this. Part of the things that may have been bubbling in my ear that started me, because I'm not a very there's certain people that are spiritual and connected and might have like stuff come to them, and all of a sudden I'm not like that. And so for that to happen, it may have been because of rappers like Wu-Tang Clan, like Cannabis, like Prodigy from Mobb Deep, even African Bambaataa. Hip hop has always had a very anti-authoritarian, anti-the system message a lot. Yeah, there was always some pop artists that snuck in there and tried to sell out hip hop. But I mean, hip hop has been talking about this for a long time. And I would go once the internet started. And Cannabis was talking about the Bilderberg Group in 1998. I had no idea. I was barely hitting puberty in 1998. And so I went back and looked up some of these lyrics of what these guys are saying, and that helped get me down the path where I was able to kind of have my eyes open. So I would be nowhere without hip hop. And that's another reason why I wear my snapback too, is because, when I used to go out there, I used to wear a suit and all this shit. Like, this is how I like to dress. I like to wear a hat. I like to smoke a blunt. I like to wear a t-shirt, so that's hip hop inspired this movement. And so I apologize for going out there like a stiff. Mrs. J, talk to me about the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, I did. It was at North Nibley Music Festival here not in Gloucestershire. In Gloucestershire, yeah. We they were lovely. They were just lovely. I got lots of lovely photographs of all the kids playing with them before they went on stage. It was really good. Yeah, they're really nice. Did the backdrops for the stage?
Oh man, you got to get those pictures for a future stream. That is.
I'll send them to you. Yeah, I'll send them to you. Yeah, they're really nice, gorgeous. In fact, really nice pictures. Yeah, they were lovely, by the way. Really, really lovely. Lovely people.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know the Wu-Tang Clan, go look into them. Most people, even if you're not a fan of hip hop, most people think hip hop is smacking bitches and selling drugs. I mean, these guys are extremely cerebral. They do so much stuff, man, and it's just like they've literally changed the way a generation thinks, and they're still popular as hell right now. So yeah, definitely, guys, go check out Wu-Tang. And that song, again, if you're interested in hearing it, I would suggest you guys play it. It's called "Impossible" by Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, it's a crazy, crazy thing. And at the end of it, then there's a story with a moral at the end, and it's very emotional. It's like it's like cinematic. It's really good. So go check that out for sure. And go check out Mrs. J. Mrs. J, be spinning it up, cutting shit up on the wheels of steel. Mrs. J, where can they find you?
I can pop my link in, I suppose. I don't think about doing stuff like that. I do everyone else's.
Yes, should do you instead of other people doing it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let me. Okay, I'll grab it. Today I talked about the A-listers in Scientology. That was my first thing, and today we did. I'm just letting people know that's me there. if you want to sub to me.
Yeah. It's always worthwhile listening to different viewpoints as well. We've got quite a few people in. We've got some people who you've seen around, like Age Anarchy, and of course the Tonking Explorers.
Tonkin.
There's a few others fly by. it's great to see you all in here. It's great to see some of people who I don't recognise as well. Probably come over from Fake Mike's. I believe you're restreaming it or co-streaming it. You're live, this live, Mike.
I didn't. I'm always. I don't know how to really restream. I probably could, but I just shared it on my community tab.
Right,
So
that's fine.
hopefully a bunch of people get in here, and I'm also sharing it on my Facebook as well too, on my on both of that. So I'm sharing that as we speak. So
Okay.
Cool.
Well, do you know what? It'd be worthwhile putting your links in the chat as well, Will, so that people can know where to find you. It's not just on YouTube.
yeah, sure. Well, if anybody wants to find me, just go to YouTube. It's Fake Mike Real
Yeah.
News. Those
Hey,
you don't
Joe,
hear.
feel free,
And,
please.
yeah, please do. We got a lot of good info, a lot of good stuff over there. But make sure you already subscribe to Grim Reaper Radio Show, hit the bell, and Mrs. J. And yeah, it's all my links are in the description to my newest video and pretty much all my videos. So just go to my newest video. You can find all the links there. It's Fake Mike Real News. But the headquarters is fakemikerealnews.com. That's where you can go to find everything. It's not just me there. It's a community there. So we got fakemikerealnews.com, brought to you by Mellows, powered by Grim and Mrs. J. And you can go over there. We have videos, we have music that I listen to, music that other people listen to. We have all the auditors, all the truthers, my favorite auditors, my favorite truthers from across the world. You can find their links there. You can find all sorts of shit, interviews. Also, too, you guys could sign up for free. Or if you guys wanted to make some type of promotion over there, too, you can go ahead and sign up. You can start with $1, $100, whatever you want. 50, well, it has to be $1. So anything over $1, you go up and you can throw an ad up on the channel. And we're also working very soon to be able to do some other things with that channel and have some other functionalities as well. And then don't forget, I'll tease it a little bit, but we've got some other projects that we've all been working on. Them, unfortunately, more hard than me lately because I've been busy like a mother hubbard, and now I'm the new whipping boy, and I'm doing everything as I can for these folks because try to catch up. But yes, we got some dope projects in the works by these folks, and a little bit of help from me as well too. So stay tuned for that. We're not just contempt on in the street activism and talking activism. We got some more things going. And shout outs to Mike Connolly and shout outs to my boy Futoy. And I love the name. I said it before. And shout outs to everybody. But I love the name Anarchy Television. I'm going to be checking that channel out too because I like anarchy and television.
Anarchy's really good for debates. He's a fantastic debater. In fact, we still need to connect up, Anarchy. We were going to do something, and we still haven't done it. It's been about 6 months now.
But that's just how busy things have been.
I know, it has been a bit crazy. And can I formally apologise to Toking? I'm so sorry, mate. I hadn't actually subscribed to you. So I put your link in the chat. Yeah, sorry about that, mate. I actually thought I was subscribed to you. His link's in the chat too.
Well, so far we've listened to what Will's been doing in the past, where he started from, where he's gone to, some of the interviews he's done. His shows, by the way, his lives, because of obviously the time difference, because we're 5 hours in front. To get onto some of your live shows, to listen to the wonderful debates, you've got to be up in the early hours of the morning. But it's well worth it. If you've got insomnia and you want to listen or even take part, because the thing is, the chat gets a chance to put their point of view across as well. I think it's a great place to go when Will's live. And look out for his premieres as well, because some of them are absolutely fantastic. But I really want to sort of look at what we're doing right now as a group, because we are a group of people working to move things forward and to have an alternative to mainstream. And that's what we've been working on. And I want to bring people in just to have a chat about that. And I think the best person would be Mellows. You weren't expecting that, were you, sir? Hey, Smiley has not come off mute yet.
Yeah, I'm still muted over here. It takes me forever to unmute. Yeah, thanks for that, guys. God, don't know what to say.
First time it's ever been done, guys.
What's the
Clip
question?
it.
What's the question?
What are we doing at the moment as we move forward?
Right. Okay.
What we're doing, we're doing something anyway. That's for sure. Yeah, a lot of projects I can talk about. A lot of projects I can't really talk about. It's not that they're top secret. It's just that we haven't really finished them yet, and we don't really need the,
We don't want to overpromise something.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So, what it boils down to is
we've got PSYOP TV, PSYOP.tv, as an ongoing alternative platform.
Right. So,
which, go on.
Yeah, so I can tell you a little bit about PSYOP TV. PSYOP TV is a new platform that we've set up with the help of one of our other friends, Nick, who's not here, who should be. So we have basically put together a platform which uses peer-to-peer technology. So in a sense, we can stream the videos, live stream, upload and stream, and in a sense, the more people connect to the stream, the stronger the stream gets. So it's actually quite an innovative idea, and it's basically it's a really good platform. You should try it out. It's very limited on member space at the moment, so if you do want to join us, you'd have to kind of contact one of us here in this room, and then we'll have to show you how to use it and create you an account on there and so on. But it's free for anybody to view the videos on there. Anyone can view the videos. You don't need to sign up to watch it to watch any of the videos there. What else can I tell you about?
Well, the link for
I can take.
I was going to say the link is in the previous description, so I'll make sure it goes in the description here somehow. Just been asked what's the topic.
Yeah.
So I'll leave that one with you, Mrs. J.
Okay, the topic is I would say activism, and support. I think they're the two. We're all activists, working on projects, on our own projects, really. It's just that we're all helping each other out with each other's projects. I think that's probably a really good way of describing it. We've got vigilante media. Do you want to talk about vigilante media, Mellows?
Yep.
So basically, what vigilante media has kind of become is a group of crazy black sheep who have similar ideas and views, who want to, do something about it. I mean, we help people set up websites, platforms, teach them how to use certain technologies that they're not aware of, or how to use or improve upon. And just basically, generally, just provide help and support to anybody who's got the balls, basically, to get out there and do something about this insane world that we live in.
Well, yep, totally agree. As you know, a lot of you know, we started on YouTube, 9, maybe 12 months ago, heading that way now. A tiny little group. I mean, who the hell is the Grim Reaper? Well, some people thought it was a person, but it's actually really a movement. It's something I've always said. I don't own this. We do. as a group of people. We all contribute. People are coming in from all over the world, and we got people. We got What's Truth here as well. We got AJ. We got Fake Mike Real News, aka hashtag tab. I am Elroy Hubbard. I will get it right. Thank you. Listen, I'm a little bit worse for worse.
You dare to get that wrong again, Grim Reaper. You will not.
Yeah, well. You know what? I think my brain's somewhere else at the moment. It's certainly not where it needs to be.
In all fairness to Grim, there, I have been talking with a former professional wrestler, Val Venus. We're going to live stream with him tomorrow. He's got some brilliant ideas too. But I was up at 11:30 my time, was 4:30 his time yesterday. Him, Mellows, and Auditing Whale was up. Auditing Whales, they was all up. I'm like, dog, when do you guys ever sleep? Like, Auditing Whale, shame on you. He has a bedtime and a curfew. He should have had his milk and vitamins and been in bed. But I'm just telling you, Grim and Theo, these guys, they never sleep. They're always up working. So yeah, if I mistalk like I just did right now, that's normal. That's me. But if Grim or Mellows does it, it's probably because they've been up 75 straight hours. So I forget Team Jacob. I'm in Team Edward. It's Tim Grim and Mellows. Guys in the chat, are you Team Grim or Team Mellows? Forget Jacob and Edward. All right, these are the real vampires.
Well, all right then. I'll take that one. I'm not going to argue with it. I'm too tired. This is a change. This is not our sort of normal Friday night thing. This is more of a more serious discussion. I say that, but there's always going to be fun.
This is serious stuff from the guy holding.
I'm tempted to go and get a glass of wine, Grim.
Yeah, you go get yourself a glass of wine. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking to a guy who uses a whisk as a bleeding microphone, for crying out loud.
That should tell you right off bat this serious shit. All right.
Well, hang on a second. I've seen the shit show and I can match it. I don't think I can beat it. For those who don't know what the shit show is, that is the UK version of the cesspit, but it's funny and also makes a lot of sense. Southside Gang Worldwide. Hey, I got it right.
Oh yeah.
That makes a change. The guys over here and the guys over in the States know that I keep popping up, and they always say, "Don't you ever sleep?" Sometimes you just can't. You know, your brain keeps ticking over constantly, no matter what. And you end up going onto YouTube, and because people awake in the States, not usually over here at that time, you know. But hey, we get about, we get noticed, we get talked about. People like what we do. We're getting a lot of people coming in to see what the Grim Reaper radio show is all about, and it is about having a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun. But there is also a serious side, and sometimes I have to go, no, we need to knock the fun on the head for a few minutes and try and look at the serious side. We, as a group, as a community, if we don't work together, we don't link in with each other, we end up having lives at different times. We have channel rivalry. Things get down to people bringing kids and family and people's religion into it, and etc. You know, so I want to make sure that this platform, you know, here in this community, we just leave the crap at the door, you know, and we make sure that we carry on and just move forward the best that we can. But the future, where do I see us in 10 years' time? Hopefully not on here. That's the first thing. I want to be on a platform where we can say what we want, do what we want, and we own it. You know, as in the people own it. the people who take part in it have a say in it, in what we do. We can give you the platform, but we can't give you everything that goes with it. But anyway, I just want to make sure that we all start working together a little bit more. I know that Will's been really busy in the past. He's promised us a couple of days in the next couple of weeks with a bit of luck. Once things settle down, we're going to carry on doing what we do in the background and try and get things right so that we can carry on moving forward. Like Mellows was saying, there's a few things we can talk about, and there's things which are in the pipeline. Because they're in the pipeline, they're untested. So we can, if we were to talk about that, and that you would hold it to us. You said that you would be doing X in 6 months, so we don't put a time frame on things. Just in case.
I can talk about 2 of the projects that I'm doing.
Go for it.
So I'm doing a project for People's Health Alliance. People's Health Alliance is being created as an alternative to the NHS using its alternative therapies, medicines, etc., because we're not allowed to talk about them. So we've created a massive network right across the UK. And it's called People's Health Alliance. And I'm specifically specifically working on my local area, gathering all of those people with alternative therapies, alternative medicines, alternative health practitioners, and building a network of websites right across the UK. It's fantastic. And I'm absolutely honoured to be a part of that. So the website that I'm doing is not quite done yet, but PHA forum is available for you to go and have a look at, and there will be one in your local area. We have 500 hubs now, which is fantastic. The other project I'm doing is 1000 Angels. 1000 Angels are a group of people who are working with those who have been vaccine injured or have had someone who's passed away via the vaccine. And they are doing a network right across the UK, trying to save those people and support those people that have had vaccine injuries through the last 2 years. 2 fantastic projects, and I'm very proud to be part of them.
Great.
Really exciting projects.
Sorry. No. Carry on. Sorry. Carry on. Give me a chance to gather my thoughts again.
That's just 2 of them, but I'm not doing any more. I'm not saying any more.
Yeah, it's difficult to say too much on the. Yeah, it's difficult to talk too much about projects we're working on. We're right in the middle of them, because we have basically people that just do not want us to do what we do, right? So, the more we talk about it publicly, the more difficult it gets for us. It's just as simple as that. I mean, even by me sitting here and putting my face here makes it more difficult for me. But, we have to do what we have to do, We
have to do what we have to do.
There's no more hiding in the shadows. We can't bury our head in a bucket this time. We have to stand up and be gutted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got distracted by what Will was doing. I wasn't sure he was trying to be a statue, moving his arms, trying to wake up.
Mellows is pumping me up. Mellows is pumping me up.
This boss.
Honestly, as I say, my favourite topic, so to speak, I think, is how do we protect our rights? And I'm not talking about rights that are given to us by a piece of paper, a law, or a constitution. I'm really talking about what we already own, but we don't use, we don't exercise our rights. And a right is something that you have automatically. It's not permission, because, as I say, that can be taken away from you. Free speech I was watching something earlier on today, and someone pointed out, well, you don't have free speech, you have freedom of expression in the UK. You don't have that either. You have one place for free speech, and that's Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park on a Sunday morning. Anywhere else, it's illegal, doesn't exist. So they'll basically use everything they can to make sure that they can make your life difficult for speaking out about them, right? And that's what we don't, we don't want them thinking that. We need to educate them. So when some idiot behind a desk turns around to you and they're working for the government, they're working for the local council, anything where the taxes you pay pays their wages, you have a right to question them, to get information, right, freely, and they shouldn't use a policy over a right. Because, you got the right to film in a public place. If you can film on the street, you can film inside anything which is owned by taxes, for starters, because that's the system we have. Whether I like it or not, I have to pay tax. You all have to pay tax. It doesn't matter whether you're getting benefits or you're not. You still pay tax because you pay VAT. If you drive a car, you pay tax on tax with fuel. Oh, and let's not forget the extra tax that you're going to be paying to the government out for all the price increases from the 1st of October. Of course the government don't object. They're going to get more tax revenue, through VAT or fuel tax or whatever it's called. And it's a load of codswallop when the government turn around and say, but those who need it, we're giving money back to them. We're giving them X amount of money over so many months. I'm not being funny, but what's the point in giving people £300 or £400 or whatever it is in summer? What's the point? Give it when they need it, which is between October and December. So that they have fuel, so they have lighting, so they have heating, so they have hot water. If you give it early, it just doesn't last. But what does anybody else think? Open to the panel.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. J. Please continue.
No, Carol.
Oh, they're so polite.
No, I insist.
I was meant to. I'll mute myself. There you go.
Well, I was just going to say thank you for your over politeness and making me look like a douchebag, Mrs. J. And I'm not polite to women, apparently, so thanks a lot. Expose me.
It's all right.
Well, in all seriousness, you bring up a good point. And, I was in court the other day, and then the DA, she's like, oh, well, Will does have his rights afforded to him by the Constitution. Now, me, a guy with a snapback and a whisk, and Grim, who doesn't even live in this country, rights are not given to us by a piece of paper. We inherently have rights. But then there's the argument that, which I actually kind of lead into, which is we don't have any rights. Unfortunately, we don't have any rights. Like, you only have the rights that you're willing to act upon. That's the only right that you have. Because you don't have the right to, you don't even have the right to free speech. Like you said, in the UK, I mean, over here, it's not as bad. But a lot of times, and this has been happening for decades, not just in the recent years, when there's like a world trade organization meeting or rally, they'll have, or whatever it is, they'll have a free speech zone to be in a barricade, which sometimes can be miles away. And then, of course, there's several other attacks on the First Amendment. And one of the things that proved your exact point, Grim Reaper, is do we have rights or privileges? And we've witnessed over the last couple of years with the cooties outbreak that we didn't have rights. We have privileges, because if they can be taken away from you, you never had that right in the first place. That was a privilege given to you. And so we don't have any rights because for the longest time, people have not been nonviolent and stood up for the rights. You only have the rights, in my opinion, that you're willing to act upon.
If you have to ask for them, you don't have them.
Bear, you coming up, Bear?
Yeah, Bear wants to come up. Can you pass him the invite, please?
Send him a link.
Yeah, please.
There's one
Let's
of those
bring Bear up on the stream right now.
sometimes. You know, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance, right? And I like Jordan Peterson says you need to become a monster, you know, an immovable rock. You know, you need to stand your ground, and this is the time to do it. You know, not tomorrow, not next year, not when they've taken everything, because it's too late now. You know.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. My issue, well, let me put it this way. I was asked the other day by a guy who had never spoken to before. And he said to me, now, if you believe in something which is right and it's part and parcel of you as someone who stands up for rights, would you then be prepared to accept any consequences? And I didn't have to think, because the answer, of course, is yes. You know, I would give up my life if it meant that people had rights, personally speaking. You know, that's how far I would go with it, because that's how I feel about protecting rights. Because I believe we do have rights, and that's where I would disagree. It's just that we don't realize we've got rights. You know, our governments have repressed us for many, many years and kept us down to make sure that we believe we don't have any rights, that they are only given to us. Well, I'm sorry, but back in the late 50s and the early 60s, things changed, people changed. They woke up slightly. That's why you had so many revolutions, so many firsts towards the end of the 60s and into the 70s. You had people like Martin Luther King, who stood for his form of activism. You know, he wanted black people to have an equal rights. What's wrong with that? We're all human beings. But you'll be surprised how many people were against that idea. But now everybody theoretically has the same rights. Or should.
Can I interrupt?
Yes.
Sorry, my darling. Anarchy would like to come too. Can I send him the link?
Yes. Yeah. For obvious reasons, I don't want the link going out in the general chat.
Yeah, that's why.
It's nothing personal, guys.
Can I just interrupt too, because I'm looking at the chat here briefly, and New Guru has a great comment. I gotta scan up for this. Another way to look at it is if rights were inalienable by default, they would not vary in degree and capacity from country to country, nor would they be amendable or writable. And that's the point. And I think that's what our founding fathers, our founding daddies here in the States, we're trying to express, that rights are unalienable. But then, Grim, you're right. And it's fun. We've been struggling, and that's why I think Anarchy Television and people that are focused on voluntarism are going in the right direction. We've been struggling. In my opinion, the course of human history has been tyranny versus freedom, and people fighting for their freedom. And I think freedom is the most important thing, because without freedom, you can't have culture, you can't have music, you can't have science, you can't have any of that other stuff if you're not free. So the point is, you know, our founding fathers were trying to say, oh yeah, we have these inalienable rights that cannot be taken away from us. There can't be a lien put on our rights for anything. However, in the same document, they said black people were 3/5 of a human being, while saying all men were created equal. So yeah, that's a great comment here. And I think the point is, we need to work. And I think that voluntarism is the ends to that means, not to create a perfect utopia, but a better world is creating a situation where all human interactions are voluntary, and we will have those rights, or at least much better than the current situation. So that's my 2 cents. Sorry.
Yep. Well, Outlaws put an interesting statement together. Sad fact, the only rights most governments want people to have is the right to remain silent, and anything you say will be used against you. Well, that is part of the statement that a copper says to you when they arrest you. You know, you have the right to remain silent. However, if you do say anything, it will be used against you in a court of law, and anything you later rely on
And
may
will
not be
always be
admissible.
used against you. Will always be used against you, Grim, and never for you. Anything
Exactly.
that's for you is inadmissible, right? So it'll always be used against you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. This is, well, as I say, I mean, when people get stopped by the police, you've got 2 choices. One, you can be nice and polite, and you can do bow down and ask where they actually want them to be kissed on the butt, or you could just give them what they require. So if it's a traffic stop under, in the UK, was it section 163, the driving code or whatever it is, you have to show them proof of identity. You have to produce your driving license if you have it on you. You have to produce your insurance certificate and also your MOT certificate. Most people don't carry insurance and MOT certificates in the car. This day and age now, insurance certificates are available online. So, you know, if you've got 5G, 4G, whatever, you know, fairly decent phone, you can produce your insurance certificate, providing you can get through the online security, right? So when you know, if you can do that, you've met 2/3. But why talk to them? Just show it them. You know, they can read it through a windscreen, surely. You know, and if they can't, then I think that you've got your windows tinted too much.
With technology, though. Sorry,
You're breaking up.
I was going to say,
with
the truth is that with the technology they have. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello.
Yep. Yep. Can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was going to say, with the truth is, the technology they have, they know exactly what you have before they even pull you over. And what they're pulling you over for is an expedition. They're just saying, you know, if they can get you on anything else, you know, that's all they want. They're just making sure that you're actually the person that's, you know, on their computer, you know, and and that's the reason why they want their ID, because they're literally on a fishing expedition, you know? And that's why they'll use everything at their disposal to get you out of the car, to, you know, any excuse to search you. Hopefully they can find something on you. You know, they're just fishing. It's just fishermen. That's all they do. They go out fishing every day, looking for the
they
easy
throw a
pickings.
net out and see what they can catch. I agree totally.
Yeah, they don't actually go out and solve any crimes. Most of the crimes they actually instigate. You know, they create the problems. They actually commit more crimes trying to capture the criminals, which is kind of pointless, really. I mean, you know, if you're going to have to, you know, commit a crime to catch a criminal, then that mean you need to lock yourself up as well. I mean, what the hell is going on there? You know,
I think the problem
who's
is
watching
wherever you are, doesn't matter what country it is. Just remember one thing, folks: the state invent laws to make sure that you are silent, so you do as you are told. And the greatest experiment worldwide has been over the last 2 years to see how long they can keep people indoors for, as a way of a punishment, so to speak. I mean, over here they invented fines, you know, which I thought was ridiculous, unlawful. And I say lawful because it wasn't even an act. It was good old Boris deciding to do what he wanted to do, you know. Right. So there's a question there in the chat. I think it's aimed at you, Will.
Yeah. Asking if auditing a
I
marriage.
don't know the last word, so my
Well, the
apologies if
last
it's an
word is
insult.
slang for someone that would do something improper with the child. Well, not only am
Right.
I someone that would never do that, I'm also someone that is actually actively exposed predators. I've done a number of videos, uh, almost dying, almost being killed, to expose online predators. I've also exposed one of the biggest predators of all time, Joe Biden, making international news, telling him to stop groping kids. And of course, if anybody wasn't actually just trolling and wanted to do their own homework on this, anybody can look up my criminal record, which I actually don't have unless you can count suspended licenses, which is a non-criminal thing. I'm a habitual offender with a suspended license, but I do not have a criminal record. And here in the United States, anybody can take in my name. I say it every day. At the beginning of every video, I dox myself, Will Turbit, which is short for William. Anybody can go look up William Turbit. It's my name. It's already out there in public, so you can go check all this stuff. So instead of trolling and
I
having,
must admit that's not Angel asking the question. She's
well, I know, but
restreaming it.
either way,
So yeah.
before you bring that into a chat, you should. It takes 1 second to search. It takes about 5 minutes to search a criminal database to see if I'm somebody that would ever do that. And I always, and my history has proved it. I always nonviolent, Socratic method, keep an open mind. I mean, I've exposed so much child predation in DCYF, CPS. That's literally what I do. Now, I will say this. I will say this. Even if I was, it wouldn't negate any. Even if I was a triple murderer, it doesn't negate any of the things, the information that I'm saying. So I'm not. I would never would be. The focus of my activism for many years is exposing that very thing. So that's what the haters do. Haters will they will not attack your argument. They will. It's called an ad hominem attack. They will attack something about you or make something completely false and frivolous up like that to attack you. One last thing I would say on this, because this is important. Now, I've never even been accused of anything of that manner. I've been accused of auditing and suspended license. However, there are people in the truth community. Who's the dude that I'm trying to think of? There's one famous example, but that's one thing that they will try to do to assassinate someone's character. And when someone gets potent enough, when someone's affecting enough minds, the CIA and other agencies, they know how to slander people. I mean, it came out that the CIA would make false tapes about Osama bin Laden. They would assassinate foreign, legitimately elected heads of state, poison children's milk. So they create their own narratives. And I'm trying to think of this dude's name. But yeah, basically they've done this to a number of truthers over the years. They'll try to say, oh, he's this, he's that. The government will try to say, oh, he's a murderer, he diddles, or he does this or that. And so that's a common way to have attack people. So that's my message. Again, even if I was, which I would never be, whenever you're listening to anybody, whether it's me or anybody, whether it's Tucker Maddow or any of these people aren't. These people are just conveyors of information. What they're, you could care less about that person. You need to go, and if you're interested in consuming that information, you need to go check that information out yourself and keep an open but skeptical mind. So yes, that's just an idiot trolling. But I do like to address the haters, because that is an important point, because people can throw claims on somebody that can be baseless and that can completely ruin somebody. And even people like Rick Ross, who's supposedly a bad person because he's a drug dealer, and people like Tukey Williams, who allegedly, supposedly murdered people, he's admitted murderer, they changed their lives and become better person, in my opinion, have had a net positive impact on society, even though they came from a past. So I don't think you should ever discount anybody. I mean, because I don't believe anybody is beyond redemption. I also don't believe that I'm a judge of anybody. So that's a long-winded answer to that. No, I am not.
No, well, as I say, I think it's just relaying the message. We're not shooting the messenger, believe me.
And that's what happens when you deal with. I'm
Yeah.
just going to say this too. When you deal with, when you go up against a system like Mellows was talking about, not only do I have trolls saying, "Oh, Will's stupid. Will's a whiz. No one's going to take you serious dressing like that. You're an idiot. You're a degenerate." Then I got trolls making up lies about this, saying dumb things that never happened. Then I got the FBI coming to my house. Then I got CPS coming to my house. I don't have any kids, right? Then I get weird stuff with police retaliation. Then I get locked in a vault. So this is par for the course, and just realize you're gonna have you get a lot of haters out there when you're poking the bear with the whisk, you know. So it should be expected.
Yeah,
I ain't going anywhere, bitches. And even if I do, I'll never give up. And guess what? I already woke up enough people, and we're gonna keep this rolling with or without me, guys. You can lie and call me a triple murderer, rapist, but I ain't going anywhere. I'll still be talking shit from there. And other people, don't make a difference. I don't care. Like Grim said, I sure as hell wouldn't want to spend the rest of my life in jail, but I'm willing to do that for this. I already know when you go up to Bill Gates' house, when you go up to the Clintons, you go to the Bush's house, right? These people know who I am. Joe Biden knows who I am on a first name basis. Well, I went to confront like, oh, these guys again. Oh man, can you give me a break? Right? I was just like, just answer the question. So the thing is, I don't want to spend my life in jail, but that's a risk we could all have to take. You know what's worse? If we don't do some activism, then we're all going to spend our lives in a smart city here. So we have to do this. It's going to be work. And you know what the thing is? These pigs, they've done arrest me. They take my fingerprints, right? They got my DNA, right? They could go ahead and go frame me for any crime in the world right now. Would that change the fact that the Federal Reserve is illegal and unconstitutional? No. Would that change the Bilderberg Group? No. Would that change the NSA spying? No. Would that change the Patriot Act? No. Would that change the illegal wars? No. End scene. Sorry. The haters. You know I like to engage with the haters.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm used to haters. Yeah, I'm used to haters and people who want to investigate you for whatever reason. Just want to say hi to Not Left, Not Right. Long time no see. But I just want to look after this little soul because one day I'm going to meet him. Obviously, when he's passed, and I take him somewhere else to wherever he's going. But you want to investigate me? That's fine. You do that. I'm an open book.
You'll never meet Will. He's immortal. He's Owen Upperbeat.
Yeah. As I say,
he's coming back.
They can do whatever they like. They can say whatever they like. I've never hidden anything from anybody, right? And just recently, even my face has appeared on various things. And I've even been called, been found croaking to music as well. But you know what? I don't care. Anyway, I'm going to welcome Dennison to the panel. Hello, Dennison. How are you, sir? Still alive?
Greetings. Alive and breathing.
Well, hello.
Well, hello there.
How are you?
Fancy meeting you here.
And
lovely time. Aren't I lucky? Look at these four.
Oh, well, if you think that's bad, wait here. Hang on. Hello, Wignut Radio.
Oh, I'm very blessed.
How you doing, mate?
I'm all right. I'm actually, like I said, I want to thank Fake News Real Mike, fake Mike Real News. Fake Mike Real News. I'm gonna tell you, I'm actually, like I said, I appreciate you like stretching across the pond and all that other stuff too, man, because this is a lot of this stuff that's going on is actually a worldwide thing. I mean, it's not really just here in America. A lot of the stuff that's going on. And the thing is, it's like when it comes down, like for instance, freedom of speech. This is something that we're all basically have as human beings and just being men on this freaking land. You know what I mean? this idea that a small group of people have the moral right to rule over people and the others that just have the obligation to obey, that whole idea needs to be eradicated from the freaking planet. You know what I mean? Because we're all free. We're all born sovereign in a sense. If you want to, there's a lot of stuff about that word, but we're all born that way. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter what country we're in, but it just happens to be that, you know, like for instance, you guys over there in the UK, you've had to deal with it for about 1,000 years or more. We've only had to deal with it for about 400. You know what I mean? Because basically, after Lincoln, it's kind of been going downhill since then. When it comes down to actually being what this thing is in this country is supposed to be, and what it was started as, and because a lot of it is all because of greed and money. You know, that's one of the things that actually, in my opinion, that is like the biggest thing for a lot of people. It's just the cost of living, and we have no control over it. They just, you know, they just raise the prices higher and higher, and they do whatever, you know what I mean, so they can make bank off of us. You know what I mean?
Yep, totally
Because
agree.
I mean, I here in America, for instance, I mean, I know it's generally the same, but the private sector, the people in the private sector, is what pays for everything. All right. Everybody that works in the public sector works for the government are basically welfare recipients that get suckered into working for it.
There is
You know what I
one way
mean?
you can control the cost of living, and that is to remove your reliance upon the system.
I
The more
agree.
self-sufficient you become, the less dependable, the less dependent on their system, and the more influence you have over your cost of living, right? So if you can grow your own food, well your own water, forage for food and for wood, for energy, get off the grid to whatever extent you can. So not everybody has the same capabilities, but whatever you can do in your personal situation, do it and expand upon it. Take baby steps if you have to. Start with storing water, and then store food, and then look maybe to grow a garden out even on the patch of grass you have on the side of your house, or even in your windowsill. Start growing some herbs, and just start basic and go from there.
I agree. But, and Dennison, like when it comes down to it, um, the powers that should not be are systematically trying to destroy that. How they went after like Amish people and up in Amish country that were actually like producing like organic beef and stuff like that. Well, since they wasn't complying with the FDA, they went over there and raided it and shut it down. Now they can't. Now they can't sell anything. They've got an inventory of the whole thing. It's just they're going after Amish people, man. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
like
they're
almost
gonna.
that is like the ultimate of when it comes down to like what do you call it being self-sufficient,
It's the ultimate expression of the Commerce Clause, right? They
right?
use it for an excuse for everything, and so be it. Don't engage in their commerce anymore. Like Nudie says, keep
Yeah,
your energy for yourselves. So whatever time you
yeah.
can spend laboring or laboring in your mind or in your body, and I would submit to you even your emotional resources and your attention, any attention that you can take away from their news, their media, their government, their systems, their schools, and put it towards yourself and your immediate family, that will be beneficial to you. And any time you can spend away from their cubicles and towards actually investing in your own future, your own health, and your own security, uh, separate from the system, every little bit you can do it.
I I agree in a lot of ways. I really do. I mean, and when it comes down to actually like, all right, there's so much propaganda out there that is actually like really for the detriment of people. I mean, propaganda can be used for good if we just like use propaganda to propagate freedom and propagate, being, a human being basically, and not being ruled over by others. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anyone has the right to initiate violence on other people. All right. I don't see the legitimacy of others ruling others. There's no legitimacy in rulership.
Word. And one thing I'll throw out there that may be unpopular, especially for this crowd, is a lot of times we get a little myopic in our thinking because everybody here loves freedom. Everybody here likes to take care of themselves. Everybody here, to even if we're disabled or incapable in some ways, we try to do whatever we can to the extent that we can. Not everybody is like that. Some
Hmm.
people need leadership. Some people are born to be followers. They're like
No, I
the
agree.
Orwell, yeah, Animal Farm makes sense for a reason. The sheep aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, you will
Dennis,
always
may
get
I
followers.
retort? And I'm not saying I necessarily believe this, but for the sake of debate, Animal Farm and some of these books, I think that this can be overcome. I think that it's been that way for a long time for human beings because it's there's been one study to show it's possible that generational trauma goes down 714 generations. And if you add up all the generations human beings have practically been enslaved or in indentured servitude or some form of non-freedom, it's been the majority of our history. And we've got, I would say, over the last few hundred years with the Magna Carta and the Constitution, it's gotten better. Now it's kind of getting a little bit worse. That's my own personal theory. But I do believe that part of the reason people are like that, I don't want to think, and I could be wrong, I don't want to think it's inherent in that person. I think it's because they've been molded for so long. And then also when you bring on the advent of technology and the people like Edward Bernays and how they use our own psychology against us to make us more docile and servant, I think that kind of exacerbates the situation that they were already in. I actually would like to think, I'm not sure if this is true, I would like to think that given the proper freedom and lack of trauma, that people could be self-sufficient. Now, yes, there's going to be varying degrees over, and I'm not thinking there's ever going to be a utopia, but I would like to think if people were given if people were given a few hundred, maybe a few thousand years to shake off the government and the roads for a little while, that who knows, we might gain that back. I don't know. But
I used to think like that.
Oh man, what happened? Damn it! Don't turn me into. Come on.
Well, I want to say I think everything that you said is correct, actually. And then you went on to say a few hundred years or a few thousand years, and one of the things I say is, by the time human beings are capable of reflecting our best intentions in our government, we won't need government anymore because we'll.
I think it would take one generation. I think it would take one generation.
Because it would just be we'd just be cooperating and working with each other anyway, so we wouldn't need governments to force us to do it. But
yeah, I wanted to say
what it was for me was it was right. It was the realization that as I was trying to be kind and generous towards my fellow man, to free them, right, to show them a better way, I was actually being ignorant and selfish. Because I wasn't allowing for myself to understand what it's like for the perspective of the so-called masses. And most people don't want freedom. Most people want to be guided. They want to feel safe and secure. And I think that can change, right? Like you say, you can influence these people. But to me, there isn't the agenda and the people who are subject to it. It's a feedback loop, right? It's not nature versus nurture. It's inherent within us to put our most Machiavellian traits to the forefront of our leadership and to subject ourselves to it. It's kind of part of the human condition. But you ended what you said with, a few hundred years, few thousand years. I think we will evolve as actual scarcity ceases to exist, artificial scarcity becomes more obvious. If humans are either going to kill themselves off or they'll one day learn how to cooperate on a much larger level.
Interesting comments. Nude Guru is always coming up with something which always makes sense to me. 9 times out of 10, when a man or a woman becomes self-reliant, she will no longer care what the de facto government does, because in its with its own fictional money, it created to enslave people with, which is true. I must say that the issue which I find with governments is that they use things to enslave us. And the best one at the moment is, of course, the money and the handouts, etc. And while they're doing that, they're always going to be seen by the populace that they're trying, they're doing the best, they're on our side. To me, that's all just propaganda and a way of trying to buy the next election. But what I will say is that the arguments that people put against each other causes so much division. We don't get the opportunity to stand together properly. As if you think about it, there's loads and loads of people out there who have small channels, big channels, and until such time as they start to realize it's the end goal that we're after. That's what we want, as people who want to be self-sufficient, or we want to have a law enforcement that's fair, which protects people's rights first, which would include the right not to harm somebody else, obviously, before somebody turns around and says, oh, what about this, that, what about that?
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
What does that look like to you? What does that mean, us standing together properly? Like, say, if you need a magic wand, we're not fighting with each other. If you don't need a magic wand, how do we get to where we're not fighting with each other? And then what does it look like if we stand together, and what's that going to accomplish?
Well, to me, it's a question of auditors, creators, anybody who is supporting rights should link in with each other for starters, so that people are aware of whatever else is going on somewhere else. I mean, I know about the auditing community. I know about different communities because I've gone looking to find different connections and make different networks. If we all do that, then there is a likelihood that things will change because the word gets out. Mrs. J was talking about 2 projects that she's involved in, which is community-based. So I'm not saying it can't be done, because it can be.
Absolutely, it can be done. These are 2 projects that are really actually happening right now, that are completely functioning. They are, nearly at the stage of, we'll have it where 2 websites are going to be out there. September the 17th is another date to look at, because there's a massive protest in London. And get yourselves there if you want to protest for your rights, man. This is what it's all about.
So,
go on.
On that same line of questioning, then, it sounds like you've managed to successfully connect like-minded individuals together. So
yes.
what's the call to action, and then what do you expect the outcome to be?
One of the projects I'm not going to talk about because I can't talk about it yet. It's, the other project is we are.
I can answer that. Education, pay it forward, man. It's as simple as that. I mean, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. If you know something that I don't, and literally and what you know will affect my life, then is it not your duty as a human being to educate me? Isn't that the right thing to do?
I mean, we could We could argue about
So,
that.
so
I could say no. I could say no, but I get your point.
But even if by allowing me to fall prey to whatever it is, right? Maybe you have a financial incentive to allow me to go that way. But is that morally correct? Is that something that we should be cultivating? Or
Is it
rooting
morally
out?
correct? Is it morally correct for me to consider myself the arbiter of truth? That's another question. But even if I accept your premise, then you think what educating people is going to lead to
change?
Well,
what kind of
it would give
change?
them. I mean, education, for instance, if the government wanted to educate us, right, with these this healthcare that they're rolling out, right, they would properly inform everybody, right? But they're not. They're not educating everybody. They're just
I
demanding that
agree
we
on
do
that,
what we
yeah.
do, right? So, in my opinion, right, I would rather live in a world where we hire these people because they work for us, right? And they do what's best for us and educate and inform us on what we need to know. And it's
Do you
on
vote?
them. It's their no, fuck no, man. Vote
Right,
for
so that
what?
you don't
Tyrant.
hire them. Like
Whether I like
what
it
I
or
see
not,
along your point, like
I'm a
it's the
part of this. I'm a
stupidest.
part of this. I'm a part of this system, whether I like it or not. Even though I try
No, no,
to,
for sure. But
detach
my
myself
point is
as
though,
much
the
as
average person, like the
they're going
average
to come and
voter.
take my money and pay themselves with it, whether I like it or not. So yes, they do work for me. There's sometimes you might be an employer or manager in a managerial position,
For sure, for
and
sure.
you
My
might have a
my point is
particular
that you're not
idiot
hiring.
under you. You just can't just get rid of him because you don't like him. You just got to pay him. Right?
Right. My point though is that we're not the ones hiring them. The average voter is not going to be educated by you. They're not going to listen to what you have to say. They don't care. They think you're wasting their time. They find you irritating, weird, and most of them think you're crazy. And I don't mean you
Yeah.
personally. I'm talking about me.
No,
I would say Mrs. J. I know her pretty well. They think
yes.
Graham is a loon. I know him. I mean, shit,
Yep.
fake Mike. I mean, that dude's out there. He's on the edge. He's on the front lines of fucking being called crazy. They locked him in a vault. I saw it. You know what I'm saying?
That's the point.
So this is my point about the system, though, that you want to change. It doesn't care about what we say. It doesn't care. Like if we can find all the people like us, we're the least significant people in the system.
Yeah,
I
let's see
think
it.
they'll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we are. But I think I remember Will once talking about it. Is it 3%? That's all it took.
Yes.
3%.
Well, no. 3% is who we actually are, but the myth that that's all it takes, I don't buy that. I mean, I'm open to hearing about it, but I know the
the brushes fires in the hearts and minds of men, right?
well, that's so. Here's the thing.
So
There's
if
an
we
answer
are,
to your question.
then it's literally up to us to literally go out there and educate, empower, encourage, inspire, and
No. Hold
lift
on,
these people into
Mellows. Hold on. Like you said, the government doesn't teach us because they don't want us to know. Because if we were educated, we wouldn't go along with it. So there's no system right now that's going to educate, and uplift people. That's not right. So,
there is no system.
in other words, to
There's no
answer your
free
question, what
press.
does it take to get it done?
Journalism. There is no
Propaganda,
one holding you to
manipulation,
account.
emotional
all
manipulation,
we
fear.
is ourselves. We've employed these people, right, to do a job, right, and they've failed at it, right? So it's literally move out the fucking way and we'll do it ourselves. We've got to go out there and fucking feed ourselves, educate ourselves, teach
Right?
ourselves.
Yeah.
To us now, they've failed us. There's no point in standing around and voting for the next dickhead because he ain't going to do nothing about it. It's down to us. We need to come together and say, right, we need this, we need that. How are we going to do it? This is how we're going to do it. We've got to come together and make a plan because they failed us. It's up to us now.
I agree with that. I just wouldn't.
We need to go out there and empower and educate people on their rights to free press and give them the ability to go and speak their truth. That's what I want. That's all my goal. That's all I can do, man.
Voters don't even know about their right to free press. They think it's illegal to film in public. I agree with you that we should remove our dependence on the system, educate ourselves, and then try to educate each other. All I'm saying is that's going to lead to little groups of people doing what we're doing, and the system's just going to keep plodding on the way it is.
Well, I'm fine with decentralization, right? I mean, this is what they're afraid of, right? The decentralized place. They want to centralize all the control and the power to create this one world bullshit, right? Well, the answer is decentralization. This is why they're so afraid of crypto and the Bitcoin, because it's decentralized. They want a centralized version of the cryptocurrency, which is where they have total dominion and control, which is exactly the opposite of what Bitcoin was actually created for. It was no control.
Well, technically,
we
gold and silver is the only true money on this planet, and it keeps everyone honest, and because it takes effort to get it out of the fucking ground. Excuse my language. Yeah.
Yes, okay. We're still within TOS. Right, Dennison, I know you love playing devil's advocate, right? And
do I?
Well, it comes across that way at times. But I'll throw this.
It's probably because I'm the devil.
I'll throw this one back at you, right? What is your vision that you can do in order to move as a group of people forward so that we can interconnect with others and make other connections so that we are not on our own?
Well, just socialize. What we're doing right now.
Right. So I just want to clarify that at the end of the day, what you're not saying is it's not an impossible task. It's a task that we can do. Word of mouth, to me, is far better than anything you're going to read in a paper or in a book or read online or be told.
We're talking about two different things, though, I think.
Well, word of mouth and talking and discussing things with other people is the best way, because you meet up with other people who are like-minded, and that way you grow.
I'm talking about two different things. That's what I should have said.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So we absolutely should cooperate with one another. We should create co-ops. We might even get to the point where we have our own economies on the side. And these things will have a impact on the system. I would expect fascism to replace any cooperation. If I map it out in my mind of the potential outcomes, there's a variety of them, including revolutions in which the sun comes up and the flowers grow out of the cracks in the concrete and we all live happily ever after. But as far as likelihood is concerned, I would expect that the people here on this panel, we could cooperate with each other for at least a generation, if not 2 or 3. And we would have relatively free lives as we believe in the word freedom. The system will not care. It will not change. And as soon as it starts to have an impact where our way looks better or it becomes large enough to where it's noticeable by the government. Right. And I don't even mean real competition like China. I just mean like they felt a gnat on their neck. They will start to push back, and eventually the system will replace all of us. Now, hopefully, I can live out my life and die in my tomato farm before that occurs. That's all I care about. I can't concern myself with the masses because they're unwilling, unable, and not ready to do what I want to do. And I've had a lot of conversations with the people on this panel. The listeners don't know. I agree with a lot of the people on this panel about their personal plans, right? They're 3 to 5, 5 to 10. How are they going to take a stand? Some people would put it against the system. I consider it remove my dependence on the system because I want to limit the amount of collateral damage I'm going to experience when this thing goes the way that it's obviously going, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with all of you, really. The as I said, back a year ago, it was we need to have an alternative health system because of the way the situation is going, not in a private capacity, but in sharing each other's skill capacity, because we knew that in October our bills are doubling, and so we've created a network of people throughout the UK. You know, hundreds of thousands of people are part of this project. It's phenomenal.
Well, that's where it starts, right there in the community. That's where it starts for everyone.
It just started small, and then but this was, the conversation was small between all people all over the UK, and then suddenly people, you know, they're just doing this, brought more people together, and some people said, well, let's just do this, and then these Telegram groups pop up, and then suddenly now we have a massive network of people offering skills that they've got to share skill, you know. So
that's what I appreciate about, you know, people actually doing that stuff, because I mean, it starts with that community. Even like Fake Mike does. I mean, he might be in a place like when he travels around, but that might inspire the people that kind of live in that area anyway to do what he's doing, or even, you know, have their own approach of it. You know what I mean? Because we're all individuals. Not every so-called auditor or whatever. You know, because I was a cop watcher back in the day, you know, before the internet and the cell phones came into play. But now there's cameras everywhere, you know, and you know, it's like back in the day, it was like, you know, you get pulled over by a cop, like in a, you know, some lonely road at night. You don't know what's going to happen, you know, and now at least you can have it on video, you know, and at least have some kind of an actual record of what's going on, you know. Yeah, because I mean, honestly, man, when you got an armed man coming up to your window or whatever, when you're alone at night, you know, on a lonely road, you know, it's not really. Yeah, I know my heart races a little bit, and I'm a dude, you know. I mean, I'm like, oh shit, you know, I could get shot just because this guy might have a bad day today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I do, and that's different to here. You know, we don't have that balls of steel.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you know, it's weird. You know, go ahead.
Different. You know,
I would just suggest that start from the core and build outward,
exactly.
right? And
That's exactly the way to do it. That's exactly the way to do it.
And be careful of the fact that this network is reliant upon their system. Because if things go faster than I think they will, and I'm stupid, so that's a great possibility that's going to occur. Could go faster, could go slower, might not happen at all. But if things escalate, like think about the current situation. So-called truthers, right? And it's a very ironic term.
I fucking hate that word.
Right, of course, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in that culture. I know exactly why it's disgusting and insulting. And listen, this is why they use the term, right? It's supposed to be derogatory. Some of them don't even believe that Russia is invading Ukraine right now, and you can't talk about that on YouTube. It's against the terms of service. So, imagine a YouTube where teaching somebody how to make wine out of their own living room or basement would be considered against the terms of service. Teaching somebody how to irrigate water, collect rainwater, and irrigate it on their own property would be against the terms of service.
Dennison, I'll just tell you this. Since February, I've had 12 of my videos deleted by YouTube, all claiming medical misinformation. A lot of these are over a year old, all right?
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that I actually was mentioning way back,
you don't get strikes for that?
I did get a strike. I was on my main channel. Yeah, well, so far I've only gotten one strike. They just deleted them. And when I appealed them, they denied the appeal. Only one. I appealed it by asking if they had any evidence of anything on there was technically misinformation. And they reinstated the video. 2 days later, deleted it again, and I appealed it with the same question, and they denied the appeal. But anyway, 12 videos, and a 13th one was my rant.
I get strikes for every one.
Well, the
Every
13th one
video
was
I
just.
have, they strike me every single video I have. I
Well, the
had to
thing
delete
is,
my content to avoid my channel to get shut down.
I started looking through the terms of service when it comes down to the medical misinformation thing. Practically the way it reads, if you promote a healthy living,
The
like
way it reads is
holistic,
whatever you do, period.
yeah, well,
Anything you do can be interpreted. It's going to be up
right,
to the employees who review it. And who are those
right,
people again?
right. Well, that's the
Right?
thing. It's like,
So my point is, when you're building your network, right now it's currently reliant upon their system. I see Grimm's
mm,
already trying to build one on the side. See, that's how you think forward. And here's the thing,
Whoa,
the
whoa, whoa! Can I
internet
just
too,
correct you? Can I just correct you there, Denison? It's not just me. There's a whole group of us,
for
and
sure.
it's up and running.
And now
Yeah.
Right?
don't forget
right,
about the internet though. That's part of
Well,
their
mm,
look.
system too.
Well, yeah,
So
it is.
YouTube right now is the forefront of what's going to be done everywhere you go.
Oh yeah, yeah. But if you have, ultimately, yes, they can. They
It's
can.
going to be done in your
They can.
convenience store, Grim.
Yeah. Well,
You
no,
see
what I
what I'm
mean
saying?
is
Like
every now.
the social gatekeeping right now that's going on YouTube, is going to be done when you go into your grocery store and you need food. Better
Hmm.
make sure your social credit score is high enough, brother. Watch
Well,
what you
you know
say.
what? Well,
I
Things
mean,
like
this
them.
is the system we're talking about.
yeah. I mean, I've been very careful to always stay within the terms and conditions, maybe bend them slightly, but I've never broken them as yet. You never know. Somebody might turn around and say, "Oh, you're talking this, that, and the other. I'm going to report you." Go ahead, do it. You know, if you think I'm breaking terms and conditions, I'm breaking terms and conditions.
no,
That's
no.
fine. You know,
Well,
what am I doing
well,
wrong? Oh,
well,
discussing things.
well, that's the thing. It's like when I was reading through it, it reads like for instance, if I wanted to promote like a holistic type of living, or like homeopathic remedies, it almost violates the damn terms of services of like when medical misinformation. I'm like, wait a minute. If I want to promote eating healthy, that's like that will get me struck or take my video down. I'm like, what the hell is this? But yeah. So I mean, anyway, but yeah, a lot of that stuff was because of the stuff in the arm. The stuff that I was researching and the information I was trying to put out, all that deleted, pretty
Yeah,
much.
well, this is where the mainstream win, unfortunately, because it's all geared up to them. You know, even if you just take auditing, right?
Mm.
I, someone could turn around and say, "Oh, I'm not happy that my face is in that film," and put in a privacy complaint. Now, all you have to do is to take the video down, do some brushwork, put it back up so that it's blurred out. Okay, fine. So I don't know if you know how to do that, but if you don't, then it becomes either deleted video or you have to cut it so that's not in, and it's a real pain in the backside. But surely the internet is something which is free, or it should be free.
Well, so
Now,
energy should be free as well, though. But
I
we're still
agree.
paying for it.
Now, one of the things which I am concerned about is the knock-on effects from October in the UK and the number of people who will be able to get onto the internet, because what does it all use? Electricity, which has just gone up just less than 100%. If
Well,
it runs,
how much
yeah,
of that,
it'd be a lot more.
electricity were you guys actually getting from that nuke plant up there where the war's happening?
Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing, nothing.
Nothing.
So,
Basically the
Bollocks.
blaming the rise of fuel on anything but reality, which is about making money for people like British Gas, who make £21 billion profit, etc. worldwide. I'm referring
Not
to.
just about making money, but it's also about controlling your consumption.
Yes, yeah. So if they could limit somehow people getting onto the internet, oh, they're on a winner. I mean, I just think this is only my own viewpoint.
that's why
Um,
I'm still old school.
well, yeah, you've got a ham radio set up, etc., and or amateur radio. That's great, provided you've got the electricity to go to fund it to run
Well,
it.
at the
Over
moment,
here,
Yeah.
we're looking at potential blackouts.
You could
I
operate
know.
something like that off grid too, by the way.
I got everything that's running this radio and everything on the equipment on this is running off batteries. I've got 5 car batteries hooked up in, and I got that a trickle charger at the moment, but I've also got solar panels when the power goes out.
Yeah, what I've been
just
doing right now is
just for that.
monitoring. I've been monitoring all of my kilowatt usage, and
Yeah.
I'm getting it down to what I calculate would be a very conservative estimate of how much solar power I could generate on a particular piece of property.
Yeah.
I definitely can't power
Honestly,
my home and all that other stuff. I can power my radio, my communications equipment. That's it. But that's as far as I've got so far. That's all I
as
can
far
afford at the
as
moment.
let's put it this way, Anonymous got it right. The energy price will cause unrest, deaths amongst the poor. Well, not just the poor, but yes, anybody who relies on the grid, you're going to pay for it through the nose. It's been coming for some time. And when the UK regulator for price increases turns around to the government and says, so what do we fix it at this time? And they get the go-ahead for up to 100% cap or thereabouts, you think, hang on, or you should be thinking, why? Those people who are on pay-as-you-go meters, they now get 50% gas and electricity, for argument's sake, for every pound that they pay.
But I mean,
So
okay,
it's doubled overnight, literally, or it will do. And this is the problem, which I'm thinking from my point of view, from a creator's point of view, I'm potentially going to lose people because they're not going to be able to see it, because they're not going to be able to afford to see it. Then do I stop or do I carry on?
We carry on.
Oh, I'm going to carry on regardless, because when they can afford it, they'll be able to see, and that's where I'm coming from.
But also, we're not just doing this online. That's the thing. You know, we've got lots of stuff going on behind the scenes as a community, and one of the things is being offline. Again, you know, you have to look at your local area, talk to your local people. If you want to connect up with your local people, do something like PHA, you know, and connect up and stand together. You've got if you are concerned about your own energy and what's going to happen at your homes, there is a protest on the 17th of September in London. Please go. Obviously, I can't go. I'm devastated. I'd love somebody to push me along. It'd be bloody awesome. I'd love to go, but please stand up for what you believe in, and we stand together. You know, you've got 6 people on a panel here, all completely different people. I mean, completely different, doing different things, doing different projects, but all standing together for our rights and our rights to have free speech.
Hey, come on now. Watch it there, lady. I'm not standing for anybody's rights. I don't even believe in those things.
All right, then.
You believe in your own rights, and that is the same as everybody else's.
No, I don't believe I have any rights.
No. At the
What
moment,
right to
you're
have the
right.
right to do what I'm told? That's what I have a right to do. Get the fuck out of here with that shit, Graham.
I just want to pick up on what Nude has said.
Sorry,
There are other ways to generate electricity as well. He recommends at least 2 to 3 combined. Being effective and minimizing electrical dependency is key. It's not hard with some research, possibly, but
Can I add to that real quick?
Yes, sure.
I was surprised how easy it would be for me to live off the grid, and I'm a nerd, to run my gaming machine off of solar power. It's incredible. The measurements I had when I first started measuring and what I'm down to just by changing my habits slightly and not really getting rid of any of the things I like to do, I consume way less power.
AJ, sorry, I can't see your chat. That's the reason why I'm not mentioning it. And I've got no feed in.
I can put it up on the screen if you want.
I've got a chat going on as well.
Yeah,
I could put her chat up on this panel if you'd like.
But as what I'll say is, I don't. It's great that we've got people restreaming, but the downside for me is I can't see what's going on, so it's a bit of a pain.
AJot's got it under control, mate.
Yeah, I can fix that.
Yeah.
As long as everyone's enjoying themselves and listening, I mean, we're not. Someone was making personal comments, and I'm not having that. That's why for this session they're not here.
Yeah.
No, but the point that I'm trying to make is, how do we actually get together? We know we need to get together. All right, and I'm not just talking about the 6 of us or the 20 in the chat or over at AJots. I'm talking about how do we get the masses of people out there to understand.
No,
we've got this over in the UK. We've got this protest. I'm very skeptical. But yes, skeptical about protests as to whether or not they actually achieve anything other than highlighting that a group of people don't agree with you because the numbers are either greatly exaggerated or under exaggerated, shall we say. So
that's a good point, but sorry, gonna go well.
All I was going to finish that off with that is that who listens? And I think that the people will listen and go, I identify with that, which is the reason why I agree with the idea of a protest. From that point of view only, it's publicity.
If protests work, they wouldn't let you do them. And you said, how do we make them understand? You can't make them understand. You can make them go along. And that's what the so-called elites do. They program them. They make them afraid. They manipulate them. They constantly bombard them with propaganda. And they dumb them down. That's how you get those people to go along with you. They're not capable of understanding.
You're on mute, sweetheart.
I hate to disagree with Denizen again, because Denizen is super.
Oh, please do.
No, that's what he loves.
Okay, good.
But do it in a nice way.
Are you kidding me? I'd much rather people just agree with what I say, but I like talking to Fake Mike. I love this guy. I've been watching him for years, I think, like at least 2 or 3.
Denizen is obviously someone that is very smart. He's obviously figured things out. This has been a mission. His own freedom has been a mission for him, and you can tell that he spent many years of thoughtful research and just pondering to himself and figuring this all out. Probably 1,000 times smarter than me, but I always like to be the contrarian. So I do think protests do work. Now, I don't think any of us could have a protest tomorrow and it's gonna change the world. But that having been said, I've held quite a few protests. Some of them will get 30, 40 people. Remember, this is Rhode Island. Some of them will get. I've had protests where it was just me. I was the only motherfucker that showed up. Now, there are positives. You're not gonna change the world with a protest, but every time I've ever been to a protest, there has been someone. A lot of people are just going to go by and think you're stupid or whatever, or they'll try to label you. Is this a left-wing protest or a right-wing protest? When they can't figure that out, then they'll try to call you conspiracy or whatever. But people have a difficult time with it. But there are people that are receptive to this information and curious about it. And every single time I've had a protest, whether 30, 40 went, whether 0 persons went, people walking by, I would have conversations and I would be able to network. Some of these people I've networked in protests like over 10 years ago, I'm still working with and we're still doing things. And one other thing I would say that, like I said, protests is not going to change the world. But one example is Titus Frost. I'm not sure if you guys know who Titus Frost is. Don't agree with him on everything. He's still a statist. He was an anarchist at one point, went back to statism. What the hell? A few things I don't agree with him on. But overall, his work on the word that shall not be said has reached millions of people. And he was only awakened because there was 3 people on an overpass, and one of them said, rethink 9. They had a sign that said rethink 9/11. And he's like, what the hell does that even mean? So he went home and he typed that in, and because some random person just holding a sign thought that they weren't influencing anybody. Titus Frost saw that, became an activist, and has reached millions of people. So I do think there are some victories in protest.
Yeah, I meant change the world. You know, like obviously protests. And here's the thing, I see the system as getting more progressive. So like, um, let's see, how do I put this within the terms of service?
Oh, did it?
Tennyson is.
I'll just say
Brilliant.
every so often, right? So without saying how many years it takes in between, we drag a certain set of people out into the street, and I'll just say the word guillotine. And so, like, you know, like compared a peasant's life, you know, 2, 3, 4, 500 years ago, compared to a poor person's life in America, vastly different. Even as massive as this obese government is, um, we still have more real freedom, not bumper sticker freedom, than we did when we were, you know, even in a worse system of serfdom. This is kind of a more evolved system of serfdom. So those things definitely happen, and protests are those release valves, right? Where the people kind of they boil over, and the system reacts to that in a way. And the only thing I would say is those people were going to listen to you anyway. That void would be filled anyway because it's a natural kind of feedback loop between people who think they know better for you, people just trying to live their everyday lives who are not even really conscious of the system, people who are so conscious of the system they're like us and they're trying to resist it, and then people who are begging for the system. And all of those dynamics are always existing, right? In that manner, protests are allowed. But at the same time, things are getting quote better end quote, and you know that's how that is the mechanism for it currently. Is when enough people are upset by something, there has to be some kind of reaction. I would say though the likelihood we're going to change most of the fundamental things that at the end of the day I think I could get most people on this panel to agree with are the so-called problems. That's going to take an evolution of human spirit. It's very structural, and humans don't really do like, hey, let me think about the future and plan for that. They do, oh my god, we're all gonna fucking die, we have to do something right now. So like we react to crises, right? So in some ways it will get a lot worse before it gets a little bit better, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know, that's very astute. And I wanted to follow up and ask you, so do you think that the best way to change the current paradigm, make things better, would be to just do everything within our power to not only not give attention, but completely separate ourselves as best as possible from the system, and then it will inevitably collapse because of lack of support?
So my in that map of possibilities I spoke about, in my limited capacity to understand, that's actually the most likely so-called change event, so-called revolution, so-called whatever, right? The only way to take this system down is to remove our reliance upon it. And it's the only thing I could see spreading with people who can't really think for themselves. I could see them being brought to by necessity, especially as more of us refuse to participate, having to opt out of the system in various ways, having to rely upon themselves in ways that they haven't been forced to do for centuries. And once the system realizes you don't need it anymore, well, now all of a sudden they want to come to the table and talk about all of your freaking needs. You know what I'm saying? That's the. I don't think it's a very likely outcome because fascism is very efficient. This shit is working great for most of the people in the world, even the people who are being lifted out of poverty currently in India, right? And most people are not complaining the way we are. Now you can get to see what it looks like the last 6 months to a year, what it looks like when the system goes too far And even the normies, so to speak, are like, wait, you're telling me I can't go to work anymore? You took my house away? I can't go outside for 2 years, and then after that they come back to this. Everything's twice as much money. People are realizing jobs are not worth it so much anymore. They're not really getting anything out of it. So to the extent to which people remove themselves from the playing field is the extent to which I think you win this so-called game against something a leviathan like what we're dealing with.
I think you're probably right, Denizen, and I'm not sure. I'm no expert. I know there's loads of solutions, and I don't know which is ultimately the best, but I think we should try to engage in as many possible solutions as possible to play the law of numbers there, the law of averages. I also wanted to follow up with that. Do you think it would also be beneficial too? So I'm going to be interviewing former WWE superstar Val Venus tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel. And he has a solution. I won't let the cat out of the bag, a potential solution, but it basically involves traffic courts. And he literally will do break quote unquote traffic laws and then go to traffic court and then challenge the legitimacy of traffic court in this way that he's done. He's done it a couple times, and I find it fascinating. It's an approach I've never seen taken before, and I've dealt with all these people going in from Moors to so-called sovereign citizens to people that know their rights and everyone in between. And one of the things, whether we attack the traffic courts or maybe we just we just challenge them, and then people could see, hey, this is based upon fraud, and then the traffic court collapses. What do you think about a solution like that, or maybe substitute traffic court for the IRS or something else?
In general, I think those things work on an individual basis. They will not change the system. What I've found is that on the intermediate level, when you interact with the system, you offer it the least bit of resistance. First of all, there's an incredible pushback, much greater than the resistance you're applying, because the system is not used to you asking for anything. So your initial reaction is like this almost overwhelming show of force and resistance, because they're like, wait, you want me to do my job? You expect me to be accountable? I'm supposed to be transparent? How dare you? I'm the government. If you can push through that, if you have the fortitude and or the resources to push through that, then you find government to be quite accommodating on the individual level, because it doesn't care about you. That's why it was so surprised you had the audacity to ask for a service or to address a grievance to begin with. And so while that could be beneficial for you, for your family, you might even be able to get it to happen in your community, which congratulations to you if you are that influential. But the overall system itself, it's accounting for this. It's like when people steal stuff from Walmart. Walmart knows before they even hire somebody what they're going to pay them based upon how much stuff they expect to get stolen the next year. And so once it becomes something to where the system actually feels an impact, then it will respond accordingly and it won't be in your favor. Now, if for some reason people with 100 IQ were inspired to protest traffic court, absolutely. If anything, everybody refused to go to work, everybody refused to pay their taxes. If people banded together and did anything together, they could pick whatever they wanted, it would absolutely be effective. Just good luck on getting 80% of people to even understand the words that you're using when you're trying to explain to them why it's in their best interest. Never mind agreeing with you that it's in their best interest.
Sorry to interrupt, but you bring up a great point. And
no, it's done. Please go.
Well, there's 2 points to this. One, it's very difficult in this day and age, as you brought up, and as everybody on this panel is painfully aware, to with the news and the media to get our message out there. And people are like you astutely pointed, we are heading more progressive, and the protests that you see are more and more co-opted and more left leaning, and like the protests are like, oh, something's bad, let's get the government to fix it. Something's bad, let's get the government to fix it. But I also think, there have been some times that I was thinking about earlier, and then people can debate whether these are contrived or not, like Gandhi's Salt March or the civil rights, which were predicated in the United States here, predicated on, Gandhi's work. I also think that if it's like one of those catch-22s, because you're right, like we're not going to get 80% of the people to probably follow or understand this. However, because of the very human nature you talk about, we kind of got to make this cool, right? We got to make this the thing, because right now, what's cool is what the man is telling everybody. But it got to the point with Gandhi Salt March where, I bet you half of the people there or more didn't know what the hell was really going on, but they were just riding because, this is trending. Gandhi's going viral right now. You know what I'm saying? So we do have to do our job. And the other problem with that this comes is whenever they have groups, one, not only do they talk about not only these movements are, even if they are organic, at least here in the United States, they almost invariably get co-opted and infiltrated. And
Oh yeah.
And sometimes groups actually become problematic as well too, because what will typically happen is once a group does become super effective, then they might even if there is no leader to the group, the news media might put a leader, and then they could infiltrate. Maybe he was a Jomo or a murderer. So it is a very difficult situation that we find ourselves in, and I'm just thankful to be here, allowing to hear what you guys thoughts. I mean, Wingnut is super
I alluded
smart.
to that earlier. I alluded to that earlier by saying what I was asking, what would it take, and how would we get there? And again, the removing your reliance upon the system is a possibility. And here's one that it exists in my mind as a possibility, and it makes sense. I've worked it through, but I cannot compare it to the other possibilities because it's a wild card and there's no reason for it to happen. Which is if all the people like this realize the game they're playing, and you started trying to manipulate the masses instead of trying to educate them and bring them up to your level. And then at that point, how far do you go down that road before you become the thing that you're trying to resist?
Can I just address the question that I pinned up from the restream? Thanks, Ajot. Do you think that religions started the division, or the idea of division, between the saved and those who haven't been saved? Which sort of leads me into the next topic as well.
What I thought you were going to ask is if the idea of division created religion, which is what I would say.
Well, this is the reason why I'm asking the question and put it there so that we can get.
I also wanted to know if anybody else here would consider themselves religious, and not because I wanted to talk about it in particular, but just to make a point. Like anybody who would say yes to that, I would submit to you. Now, imagine if you call yourself religious, I would assume you have a positive relationship with your religion, right? So that's the assumption I'm making in my premise. And because of that, now imagine your religion were global warming. Imagine if your religion were identity politics. And then tell me how you're going to get these people to let go of their belief systems and join you.
That is a great point. I talk about this all the time when me and Mrs. J talk about Scientology, whether we talk about Christianity, a cult, any religion, any idea, these people, more often than not, and I think I may have an answer for you, Denizen. It's the best answer I've got so far. These people are in a cult, right? And
yeah.
I've studied, like, again, I'm no expert on anything. I'm a dude wielding a kitchen utensil, right? So I'm just from as Denizen said earlier, 100 IQ guy, the best you got right now. So that's why you guys need to get out here and get active and talking to the newbies. So one of the things that is a theme when you talk about people that are engaged in cults, and I would say the government itself is a cult, probably the largest and most detrimental cult to all human society, even surpassing religion. One of the things that I was kind of already thinking, but is questioning, and that's why the Socratic method is so important, because when you're telling somebody something and they already believe something, they're just going to be non-responsive. I've debated left wing, right wing Christians, all these people, and they'll come to a point if they don't have an open mind, they're just gonna say, well, I have faith. Well, that's what Jesus says. Well, that's Donald Trump. He's still in power. Didn't you hear Liz Cheney the other day? He said he's the current president. We're gonna unseat him. He's still in charge. That's the thing, guys. So it's that same weird thinking, and it's actually human nature. There have been studies show that up to 50% of the information that we take in is edited by us to fit our narrative, and so it's a very normal thing. But long-winded point is, I think when you ask these people questions, that will, in some people, and not all people, but then they can think it out for themselves. Just start to see some gears turning, because it's not a response. You're asking someone a question, and a lot of times these questions, whether it be from they're getting their information from Tucker Maddow or Scientology or whatever, they're just repeating things, and they haven't really thought it out for themselves. So when you ask somebody questions in a polite way, they have to start thinking about that themselves. And it's really a battle here about is how many minds can we get to be thinking for themselves versus all this variety of cults that they have lined up for us. Oh, you're like this? Well, we'll give you the emo rock cult. Oh, well, hey, well, looks like you're a wigger. We'll put you in the wannabe hip hop, wannabe black category, and and so there's a brainwashing pattern for everybody. And I think, at least in my own experience, and unfortunately, this is not something that we're able to do to massive amounts of people at the time. These have to be conversations that we have. And one other caveat I would add to that too is, if you're trying to have the conversation with this person, the best place to have it is off social media and not in front of anybody, because people have egos and people don't want nobody likes to be wrong. And it's best to be face to face and do it politely and ask questions, because otherwise they're going to be more geared to have that barrier. So that's my take.
Man, every time we get to talk, I love it. Fake Mike. Do you go by anything except Fake Mike?
I actually, I don't know if you guys know Dan Taxation is Theft Berman, but Dan Taxation is Theft Berman is a guy that ran for libertarian president, and his stick is, and he wears this weird hat, which is a cool hat, and he says, "My name is Dan Taxation is Theft Berman, and I legally changed my name to Dan Taxation is Theft Berman because I hate taxation so much." And people ask me, did I go to the government to change my name? No, because I don't have to go to the government to legally change my name. So I actually really like it when people call me Fake Mike, but as I dox myself, and yeah, I can't wait to get all you guys individually and as a panel on my channel, because you guys are super smart, and what you guys are talking about right now needs to be heard with people, because these are the conversations, these are the solutions right here. I mean, us talking, I mean, this is how things have changed. Concerned people getting together and saying, all right, so let's get pragmatic about this.
I think
but my
I'm going to
full
go
name
with
is
FM.
William Turbot. That's my FM.
I'm going to go with
I don't care
FM,
what
I think, to
what
make it
people
a little
really
bit
call it.
easier. And I would say what you're saying, that's what creates, and you kind of did allude to this, it's what creates people like us.
Yeah.
And then people like you, not, because I think we're the same in that way, but where we're different is people like you are actually going to fill that void, that inevitable void that pushes the tip of progress, right? So like whatever kind of gravity in that direction there is, the mass of it is made up of people like you. But as far
Where the rubber meets the road.
yeah, literally. And so, but the system exists because of that, right? Like it accounts for it, it expects it. We're here. This is the status quo, right? This is the inevitable outcome of the inevitable outcome that we're experiencing right now. And that's the way I look at it. So I'm reverse engineering it. And I see it's a part of our nature. This is the human condition expressing itself. And the essence of a system is resistance to change. That's how it defeats entropy. It's how it exists. If it were if it were too progressive, right? So we'll use a less harsh term. We'll talk about conservation and progressivism as words, not as the political connotations that come along with it. But to
Okay,
still kind
so
of keep it
I personally am trying to conserve that
right.
what has happened. 100 years ago, we had a lot of stuff that worked for us and was good at resolving issues in the body. Can I say it like that? Right. I'm trying to conserve that. I'm trying
Right.
to
And so
conserve that.
if you're thinking about progressivism as change, right, as the incremental change
Yeah.
towards an inevitable outcome, conservation tries to both keep abundance and to slow that progressivism.
Yes.
Um, if you think about it in those terms, a system is inherently resistant to progressivism, right? Because it's the only reason it exists is because it's able to maintain against the inevitable outcome of things, right? So that's how sturdy it is, right?
Oh, sorry, I was typing.
I totally agree with everything you were saying,
Yeah.
but I do want to come back to a couple of things that you've been said in the chat. I've not put everything up, not able to do, but umpteen things at the same time. But I do try. We've been talking a lot, and I think some people are saying, "Oh, well, hang on a second, you're very good at talking, but not very good at doing." And every person, and I'll put it from my point of view, right, which is every person who does something to try and I will say this: protect our rights. I don't care what country you live in. If you do anything to protect our rights as human beings, right, and to be able to have a real life, a decent life in the real world where we can afford things or whatever system it is, it's fair, because at the moment it's not fair in any way, shape, or form. We have a saying in work: if it's not broken, we'll break it, because that's what the management do and that's what the governments are doing. It filters down that way. So I would say we do everything we can do. If we host something, we put the word out there, whether that be on social media, mainstream, whether it be on PSYOP or anywhere else. You have a one-to-one conversation with somebody, and you talk about these things. You've got the opportunity in a great way and I hate saying this, but with the price increases of fuel throughout the world, that is going to hit everybody in the pocket. Even the rich are going to feel it, so
well, they don't really pay for it, really, do they?
Yeah, no, they're
well, you
not
know
going to
what I'm
feel
talking
it.
about.
They're not going
Things
to
would
feel
have
it.
to get really fucking bad.
I mean,
for
none
them
of
to
these
feel it, bro.
politicians ever paid for gas in their life, dude.
Inflation was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, let me tell you.
Okay, I'll put it this way: when their expense accounts get closed, right? So
Expense accounts, man. I got cash for that. Fuck that
yeah,
shit.
well, politicians have expense accounts, and they just charge it across. Guess what?
They
That
make
comes out of your money.
$400,000 a year.
They still need an expense account. I mean, when you take somebody out for dinner, you've got to put it down as a political thing. Therefore, you can claim it back. See it all the time. It's wrong.
I mean, that's illegal here, but I get what you're saying. I'm just saying they're never gonna run out of that shit. Like you're gonna lose your job because you can't drive to work because you can't afford the gas way before a rich person even fucking noticed.
Dude, I'm already
went up.
I'm already at that point where I almost have to choose between food and gas right now, and I hate that feeling.
They're drinking cappuccino right now.
Yeah. By the way, people, whoever's in, there's not many mods in. I do apologise for this, but can you just fill the chat with everybody's links, please? I know there's been a few which have been asked for. Dennis,
you know what?
Hello? Yeah. Sorry, I thought
I'm
somebody
sorry.
said
I'm
something.
sorry to interrupt you, Grim, but yeah, man. This is another part here. Why don't Wingnut? Let's put your Cash App too, because this is affecting everybody. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a
I
good
haven't
idea.
doubled my net worth in the last couple of years. So let's help out Wingnut. If you guys have a few extra bucks, throw to one of the mods. Please throw.
I really appreciate that, but no, I'm not asking for it. But yeah,
Oh no,
I got a
it's dead
PayPal.
ass.
I'll put it in the
Dead ass.
chat.
Yeah,
I'll put
put
something
your
in private
PayPal
chat.
in the link.
Listen,
Anybody
you,
guys.
has a
Wingnut.
few extra bucks, and I know everyone does it. Please support Wingnut Radio. This guy's out
Yeah.
here and he's trying his best. Uh, I mean, anybody. I double down on what Grim's saying. Anybody that's out there that's trying, that's nonviolent, you get my seal of approval. You get 2 lists. Anybody, and you know what? None
Well,
of
if
us.
I can find it.
I don't want to speak for everybody, but definitely for me, I don't have any of this figured out. I just realized that there was a problem, and I want to work towards solving it. And that's why panels like this are important, and that's why creating community and nonviolent activism is important. Is because we have to, like Dennison talks about, we have to create our own communities, and the more we're dependent on this system, and so this is what we have to do. We have to support our people now, right? Especially the people that are put in the next in line speaking out. And then at the same time, concurrently, we're creating our own economy so that we can get away from them, and they'll eventually collapse, and we'll have a strong, thriving free market. So yeah,
Well,
please everyone check out Wingnuts Cash App.
I might end up dropping out if I go because I'm trying to find it all that stuff, but I'm on my cell phone, so. But anyway, if I can find it and all that stuff, I'll drop it in the private chat. I ain't no fuss.
I'll put it out in the main chat if that's all right, just in case.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. I said I wanted to move on to another subject, and it's something which I do want to talk about. And before we disappear, I can't believe that we've been going at this for nearly 2.5 hours. It only seems like 2 minutes ago we started. Thank you for making it so entertaining, guys. There's been a lot of information being issued about Scientology, and I don't want to get into the ins and outs so much of Scientology. From what I've seen of it, it is a cult, but there again, people say that I'm a cult leader. So
yeah, it's all cults. That's how humans work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not, but you know what I mean. If you want to bow down, that's down to you. I don't really have an issue. I think you're an idiot if you do, but
well, you're a cult of personality.
Yeah, I'm a persona.
He's a worldwide sex symbol.
Fake Reaper, real radio.
That'd be interesting. So I'll click that and use it. No, seriously, Scientology stroke cults. Right. Now, I've seen a few things regarding Scientology. My understanding is somewhere in the world it's classed as a religion. I don't know where. I think that's because they've put in the word at one time, Church of Scientology. I'm not sure whether that's been dropped. I don't know much about them. I've heard a lot up in the past regarding Scientology. I've never thought of it being any sort of traditional religion. But the guy who thought of it was, I've got to take my hat off to him from a business point of view. He set something up which would make money. Wrong. What it's done in reality is it's caused people to be indoctrinated, scammed. I'm trying to think of another polite way of putting it. Imprisoned, reprogrammed, and I personally wouldn't like to see a Scientology building in my local area because I would, even though I can't do it, I would be the first one out there filming the so-and-sos because I don't agree with them. But that's my choice. That's my take on things. other people may have other opinions. Other people may turn around and say these groups are religious and they have a right under, certainly in America, to use the First Amendment to preach what they say. Personally, I think it's an abuse of the First Amendment. It'd be interesting to see what our American friends say about that one. But they do have the freedom of religion, it is protected, etc. So does that mean that anybody can set themselves up as a church and say things because they believe, or do they have to be registered as a religion? I don't know how it works, but what are your views, guys?
Firstly, I think I just need to say about the child trafficking. Go on, Will. Sorry.
I just thought of a merch. I just thought of a merch idea, which is hashtag Let Mrs. J Talk. Now, this is like the 5th time I've interrupted Mrs. J. So I'm going to shut the hell up before I'm labeled a misogynist. I can already see, oh my God, new feminist now says, Will, stop mansplaining over Mrs. J.
I'm not sure who's buffering Mr. Blue.
On the hate crimes. So, all right, I'm going to shut up, Mrs. J.
Yeah, oh gosh, just dropped something. Okay. I'm sorry if you all heard that in your ears. I'm very sorry. Oh, just getting comfy because I'm bedding into this one. Right. Firstly,
right, I'm useful for 10 minutes.
The child trafficking situation really needs enlightening, and people need to know about the severity of the child trafficking that is going on in Scientology right now, and this is major, and it is these young children between sort of 12 and 15 are being sent to various locations around the world to be Sea Orgs, super people, and they're doing this sort of all around the world. That's one of the things that has really upset me, and it needs to be stopped. Now, Scientology itself is classed as a religion in the States, but in the UK, it's only classed as a religion if you're in the Navy here in the UK. Over to you, Will. Go on. A bit more.
Mellows?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to say I believe it.
Sorry, I got a lot of lag. Go ahead, Will.
Well, I believe anybody has the right to worship however they choose to worship, whatever belief they want to have. That's fine. The only problem I have is what Ms. J brings up is when these people start imprisoning people against their will, when they start trafficking human beings, when they start forcing abortions. If somebody wants to have an abortion, that's their own deal. That's a discussion for another topic. I'm not talking about that. But when people do not want to have abortions or forced to have abortions, when crimes are being committed, then there's a problem. When somebody goes against the non-aggression principle, then there should be some sort of response to that. And I have no idea what that response should be, but at least exposing what's going on. And Mrs.
The US
job of as far as I think everybody should be tax Scientology.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was going to say.
I was done, really.
What was I going to say? I can't remember. Oh well, that went at me out. Love it.
Well, Tony's put thing. Have you seen the film Whistleblower? The UN, NATO, and the rest. Okay, I'm not. And also,
no, I haven't actually.
Save the Children. I'm very dubious about the Red Cross. That's slightly different because the Red Cross, I don't believe, is To be honest, I don't think they're involved in anything like that. It would be against the ethos of the Red Cross itself. But I can understand. I mean, I'm against any sort of in slavery, any sort of trafficking, especially minors. And I'm not talking about the ones that go underground either, folks. But seriously, this does need to be highlighted. It's a side point, really, from what we are trying to do. However, it also means that if we get that out, at least people will get to understand what these people are actually all about, and maybe get them removed as being a religion in the States would be a fantastic goal to have.
I think one of the problems there, Grim, one of the problems here is that the federal government in America are funding Narconon, which is run by Scientology. And Narconon is for people who are on narcotics, and you are sent to be reprogrammed, and it's a very well known way of coming off drugs and alcohol. And does it work? We don't know. You know, I know one person who's been through Narconon, and he said all they did it was full on Scientology. But are these people then becoming Scientologists? Is it another way of getting people into Scientology by forcing them to follow auditing every day? I don't know, and it's so difficult knowing that the federal government are actually funding this and paying for this, and of course we all know that it's tax free. So again, the federal government are funding this and just giving them money, and that's just one of their projects. They're based in Florida. Oh, it's such a hard one, this, because it's really difficult on what we can and can't say on this, really. They are. It just saddens me. I guess it upsets me that there are people that are being completely and utterly brainwashed in believing that this is the way in which you can be healed.
Grim. What's going to stop them from locking? What's going to stop them from locking you guys down again?
Legally, absolutely nothing. But from my personal point of view, I will ignore, unless it comes to work, of course. Then I'll work from home. But that's my own personal choice. No, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody has that option to work at home. Man.
No, I know. This is the problem I've faced with. I don't know. I honestly don't think that the government is stupid enough to try the same trick. However, saying that, I know politicians are stupid. So, yeah, I mean, they're bringing out Britain's the first one to sign up for this new inoculation coming out from the 1st of next month, which gives you 2 inoculations in one. It's never been tried before, but in tests, 8 out of 9 arms that were developed accidentally agreed it was safe.
Well, I mean, what, you guys are being forced to be guinea pigs? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the option to be even more of a human guinea pig than you were before is going to be put into place, and then they're going to probably try the same garbage that they did before by trying to insist that people are inoculated against whatever it is they're trying to inoculate against. Otherwise, they don't have a job. I think they're going to
How is
try that.
anybody going to be able to afford anything when the cost of living is going sky high? And then on top of that, I don't know how much this stuff is supposed to cost that they're talking about, or is it mandatorily free? Yeah.
It'll be free. It will be free to everybody in the UK. The government will fund up the price, the cost, of course, and then as soon as it becomes a viable, profitable deal for these other companies that are building, making these things, the cost will be passed on through the UK. I would have thought through prescription. And then people will end up, if they're not on fit a certain criteria, they won't get free prescriptions. You'll end up having to pay for it. So I think that's going to be possibly the long term, but that's what I look and see in the crystal ball. Somebody else might see something different, But as I say, that's just my opinion. I'm hoping it's not pushed in the same way that it was, and I hope that we're allowed to discuss it better than we were, without risk of channels being taken down, etc. Because how can people make an informative choice if they're only given one lot of information?
Well, that's a good.
propaganda.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Is like a lot of information just on that particular subject, for instance, that I was putting out, that research that I was coming up, because I was looking through like past medical journals, white papers, and stuff like that that's already been published back in the past about that subject, for instance. So I was like reading up on that, and then a lot of stuff would lead me to a lot of information of what some of the ingredients that they're actually putting in this experimental drug. You know what I mean? And dude, they're trying to sequester that where it's not being viewed. If people are not knowledgeable what's going on, they're just being told to just put it in there, and they have to do it if they can't have a job to support themselves to live. You know what I mean? That's pretty crazy. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, well, I was sitting there talking about this the other day. The companies that are in question, like for instance the JJ company and the other one, they're federal criminals here in the U.S. They've been federally charged with crimes and convicted of crimes in this country many times. I'm like, who trusts these guys? You know, and they're unprotected by law. Where
Yes.
if there's damages, or by God you even die, you cannot sue them for it because they're protected by some kind of an immunity wall. This
Yes.
magical thing.
Yeah, that was guaranteed beforehand. That was part and parcel of the agreements with countries and governments. But even then, I mean, I'm not sure how it worked over in the US, but over here, you had to sign a piece of paper which basically said that you agreed to it, and then
Right, you're entering into a contract with that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you agreed to it, and you were more than happy to take it. You've been told what the current known information was. However, when you went through and you had the inoculation, the person who was administering the inoculation asked you the same why, so that they are not liable.
Right.
And that's a very important thing, because the health service over here, who were doing all of the wonderful work that they were ordered to do, they didn't want to be liable for prosecution for assault because they jabbed someone that caused them harm. And this is the way round getting it and sorting it out. And I think personally, if they start going down that route again, I think along with the cost of food, basics, utilities. I don't call the internet a utility, but it's getting that way that you actually do need it. But the cost of utility going through for your basics, water, electric, and gas, in other words, for cooking and heating, etc. If that's gone through the roof, how can you afford to pay for your medication, etc.? There's, at the end of the day, there's people who are just above the thresholds and they're not entitled to get any support from the government because they're a pound or so over the scale. So that costs them a fortune.
Welcome to being an American.
Yes. This is the whole point I was about to make, is that from what I've seen, it wouldn't surprise me if within the next 10 years, our wonderful, I mean, everyone says it's the envy of the world, the National Health Service. Come and live here and find out. But I think it'll go into private ownership, and I think there'll be some sort of legislation passed which will mean that you have to pay in to be able to receive services. But the bottom line is that they won't turn you away because we've got the Human Rights Act, etc., which they can amend at any time. So, I mean, technically, I suppose it could turn around and say, no, if you haven't got the insurance, as they say, over in the States, you don't get treated, or you go to the worst possible place where you're more than likely to get an infection of the wound, which will kill you, because it's not looked after properly, because you don't have the money and they're begging to get the right equipment, etc. I don't know. I just think that the way things are going, I don't want to go down that route whatsoever. But I think we could end up going down a similar route to America went. And I don't agree with the American health service, by the way. I don't agree with the idea of insurance. I think it's a basic right to receive medical treatment, and it should be paid for through your taxes, etc., and paid for by the state. End off. But maybe that's because I've grown up in a country where that has been the case.
Right.
Well,
see, that's another thing too. Is like anytime the state has got involved, has it actually worked out and actually been good service or a good product? When has it ever been that way?
Well, National Health Service, on the basis when it was opened up, did work. But over the years, been mismanaged, of course. And this is the problem, and funding has been wasted, which is one of the reasons why it's in such a dire state at the moment. And now they put things out for tender, and it's companies that run it on behalf of the National Health Service. It's still free to the user, but that's not the point, But just a few people who just come in and get. I've just seen What's Truth nip back in, and Boston Metal. Hi.
Hey, Spooky.
Hey.
I know, but anyway, Scientology is a big subject, and it's a subject I'd like to return to sometime in the future. Because I'll be honest, I don't understand it, so somebody have to explain it to me in words of one syllable, because you use more than that. I'm
See you.
Go, what? What are you on about? State means finances. Well, yeah, it does. But technically, in my opinion, the state should work for the people, not the other way around. We elect the buggers.
Impossible.
Yeah, realistically speaking, over here, I can blame Oliver Cromwell, but I suppose having a bunch of idiots in power is better than being ruled by one lord or master, depending on which area you go to. That would get really confusing if you go from one area to another and there's different laws. How the hell do you know which law there is?
In order for the state to be the thing that we want it to be, no matter who we are, unless you're an anarchist at heart like myself, or in heart and mind by my friend FM here, it requires us to prop it up. It needs us to give us our resources to it, our attention, our allowance, our authority. We have to give it these things, hand these things over, delegate these things to it. Otherwise, it can't do its job.
The thing is, right, unless we can't do this, we can't do the whole world. We can't we can't save the whole world from this situation. We can't do that. But what we can do is small things, and
For
those
sure.
small things are going to be just fantastic. And if we all do small things, that will save people from Scientology, for
Miss
example.
J, it's got to start somewhere.
It has got to start somewhere.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have to finish somewhere, though. That's the thing.
I'm going to
But
keep
just
going.
imagine
That's
how
all I
wonderful
can
it
do.
would be if, 3 to 5 years from now, none of us were reliant upon the system. Doesn't mean we weren't still on the internet exploiting the system to our advantage, but that if the system were like, well, it either failed organically or it was like, I'm cutting you off, we'd be like, okay.
I think that's the issue. I think we do need to overall to be as self-sufficient as possible. For
I'm going to
someone
head
like
over
myself,
to. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, for someone like myself who lives in a one-bedroom flat, it's damned impossible because everything's interconnected, and I've got no control over that.
Well, worst case scenario, hopefully I'll have my farm up and running by then, and you can just come out and stay on my farm.
Well, that would be good if they would allow me into the country.
Well, we got to figure that out.
Anyone who stands up to government says is on some sort of list somewhere.
Some kind of underground railroad across the pond.
Right, I'm sure there will be one. If they don't get rid of these requirements, there's going to be one. It'll all be a question of resources, which right now is still Federal Reserve notes.
Yeah.
So.
I
think that's a reason why. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was just saying this is only allegedly this.
Well, see,
UK government's broken loads of laws. We can only say allegedly.
I think we can get away with admitting the black market will exist as a result of the inefficiencies built into the system.
Yeah. Sorry, Wingo.
Well, no. What I was going to say is like a lot of the reasons why this thing is going on up there with the big R country and the other one. Well, because the EU and the NATO we've been trying to push closer and closer into that area of that they want to have a buffer zone from that stuff. They don't want to be involved. Well, if you look at like history, like what was it, Castro, and then what's the other guy? Anyway, they just said we're not going to use the quote unquote the petrodollar or the whatever you want to go fiat currency. We're going to use our own currency. We're going to start using this and all that. Anytime you want to buy something from us, you have to do this. And now they got assassinated. Well, see, now the big R, they're using that. Yeah, they're going to do that now. That's what they're doing now when it comes down to a lot of their stuff. If you want to buy it, you'd have to buy it from the rubles. All right. And so there's a good chance because they want to keep this Ponzi scheme of this like fiat currency going. So they're going to have to try and, eliminate another, currency out there. That's this competition thing, So, and a lot of the stuff they're manipulating the prices of things to fund what's going on right now. I mean, honestly, where in the hell did you think all this money is going from the U.S. coming out of our pockets by being stolen from us in the form of taxes, going all the way over there in the form of just actual cash and weapons and all this other stuff being just thrown over there for what? I don't see either one of them as good guys. You know what I'm saying? But we're being just like basically siphoned from our labor, the earnings of our labor into funding this stuff, and in turn, the money that we're putting out being stolen from us is actually being used against us, every day in our own country by every like gun law. That's a violation of the Constitution. A lot of stuff that violates the Fourth Amendment every single day. There's a lot of stuff.
What is the Fourth Amendment, Wigner? What is the Fourth?
Illegal search and seizure. That's the gist of it.
Right.
And then, there's the Fifth Amendment, the First Amendment. There's a lot of stuff being violated every single day in blatantly plain sight. And there's they're like sitting back so arrogant, like, well, yeah, we're going to do it. And you ain't nothing you can do about it. And really, this is one thing I have about protesting. It's like yelling at a brick wall because they really don't care. I mean, honestly, I mean, and unless it turns into a riot, that's when they seem to care what happens. But when it comes down to that, it's like, you can sit there and yell and protest and blah 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 blah. They can just sit there in the window looking at you, laughing. They don't care. Because how is that going to? Unless those minds change, the way they operate and the way they do things in their system, in their religion, their occult. You don't believe in their occult, so you know what I mean. Or their occult, they're going to keep with that, and they're going to, and since if they can influence and control everybody else with their occult, why are they going to change? Me personally, I think it's more like it's enforcement. They have the enforcement to use here in the U.S. use deadly force to enforce anything from a freaking traffic stop, if like a tail light out. I can get shot if if things don't go right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different to here, isn't it? On that front.
For a tail light, that's like judge, jury, executioner, all in one night, right there on the side of the road. It could happen, and it has happened. It has happened in the past, but I mean, it could happen to anybody. And me, I have a tendency to question a lot of stuff. So people that really, their first response when they don't know things is just to get like violent. And when cops, if they had a bad day, their wife just left them, whatever, it could happen. You know what I mean? I make the wrong freaking move, my hand off the steering wheel, boom, it could happen. And it has happened in the past, things like that has happened. So, and then when it comes down to like a lot of these guys too, also, they're not charged with murder. They're not found guilty of any kind of thing. They get protected with the police unions and the qualified immunity, and and the taxpayers end up paying for their mistakes. Like for instance, when like auditors or First Amendment auditors and a couple auditors, whatever, and they actually take it to court and they actually find that they made a mistake and they win like some kind of a settlement, it comes out of the taxpayers' pocket. It doesn't come out of the cop's pocket. It doesn't come out of the judge's pocket. It doesn't come out of theirs. It comes out of the taxpayers. So we end up paying for their mistakes. And so they don't feel any
that's to make you shut up and go away. That's the shut up and go away fee.
Like yeah, exactly.
It's a gnat on the back of their neck.
Yeah, because honestly, if it came out of their pocket where it affected their bottom line, then they might care. You know what I mean? But even then, like I said, in a general, like a generic term, they're welfare recipients that just get suckered into working for it. You know what I mean?
That's how serfdom works, though.
Well, that's because, it's like even it drives me nuts when I hear cops like, I pay taxes too. And I'm like, well, those taxes came out of my tax dollars.
Yeah, I paid my taxes, dollars. Stupid.
I paid your taxes. All right. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Every day, mate.
Cops are so dumb. Like, here, you want an easy solution for change? IQ requirements for police. There you go.
Well, that's the thing. They want the dumbest ones that are just willing to do what they're told. That's the reason why they hire those. If you get over a certain IQ, they won't hire you, man, because you're more likely to question.
Yeah. They do have a maximum IQ qualification.
Yeah, some departments have an IQ limit where if it's too high, they won't take you. You won't. Yeah, you won't fit the psychological profile either. When they start getting to the questions that will determine whether or not you'll follow orders instead of doing the right thing.
Right.
They don't want people that think for themselves.
So there is an IQ cap on how clever
in some departments, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
You're going to reverse our incentives, I mean, these are the systems we put in place. us, even the activists and the haters, the
Well,
resistors.
I know all of us have got like our own talents, our own,
Yeah.
skill sets and all that other stuff, and this massive machine that is like creating the problem has got a lot of moving parts. And we probably can figure out our own way of putting our own metaphorically a monkey wrench in the whole system. You know what I mean? Because like me personally, I'm not one of those guys to go out there and start sniping these suckers right off the planet. You know what I mean? I'm more like I got to sit there and just find the information, put it out there, and let you guys kind of make the your own decision on what's up. Or if you doubt me, research it and actually, I'm more likely to doubt me, and then you like try and find out if I'm wrong. Because if you start digging into some stuff that I've dug into, you'll find out a lot of shit I was talking about, I was right. But still, that's beyond
Too
the
little,
fact.
too
That
late,
actually
man.
is more like yeah, because I mean, I really, I want you to think, on a lot of stuff too, because some of this, you got to understand, like, what's that old saying? What is it? Fiction is stranger than fact, or something like that.
Truth is stranger than
Or
fiction.
truth is stranger than fiction. Yeah. So that's the thing too. It's like it could be so outlandish and such a crazy story. That doesn't mean it's not true. I mean, there's stranger things have happened. You know what I'm saying? And you think about it. What, 3 years ago, there was a lot of people in this country, people I know personally, that were like, "Yeah, that will never happen." Look what's happening now, and they're like kicking themselves in the ass. They're like, "Oh shit," you know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh, duh." Excuse me. Um,
It's true though. What you're
well, I
saying is
mean, that
true.
was the thing. It's like I said this for a long time. Also, it was just like some random thing. It's like most people will not really understand how bad it is until they start seeing robots going down the street killing people, and the drones are over our head. Now that sounds like really outlandish and science fiction, but if you follow the technology, we're closer to that than you
Bro,
imagine.
bro, it's worse than that. It's
I'm
worse
just
than that.
saying but the thing
Wait,
is by
here's
then
the
it'll
real
be too late.
here's the real reality. When we get to that point, at least half the people that we have to deal with will think it's a good thing. That's the
Well,
reality you're up against, man. It's so much worse than just trying to get some
well,
people to like wake up and smell the coffee. You're dealing with a species where your neighbor is just as likely to support the thing that terrifies you as he is to be completely ignorant of its potentiality.
Well, it reminds me of like what is it? The people that were willingly going into the train cars and then pushed into gas chambers back in the day. Yeah.
Cool, Mellows.
Just saying, I think that's what they call cognitive dissonance. I mean,
Right.
you're just going to most of these people. I think someone was it Denizen or Wing that said earlier. Most people, they follow. They're followers. They're not leaders. We don't have leaders. They
Not,
don't want leaders. These
yeah, not
schools,
never gonna be.
people, they don't create leaders, which is what we'd hope them to
Well,
do. They
I
create
agree.
more mindless drones. Obey, give them.
Not only that, not only cognitive dissonance, but patriotic fervor. That's the other thing you have to take into consideration, you know?
Stockholm syndrome.
Mixed with
Yeah, sure, there's that
a
too.
bit
That's
of
a really good point.
tribalism. Yeah, mixed with a little bit of tribalism. Just to make sure that everyone's divided nicely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a man called Willie Lynch back in the day. There's a thing called the Willie Lynch letters where he was trying to explain to slave owners back in the day how to like basically have his control over his slaves for the next 100, 200 years. All right, he had a whole method, a whole system. All right, and it really, if you look at it overall on a layman's terms, it relates on how to break a horse, and that's exactly how he did it. All right, and it was basically like, and then it just kind of evolved into like, for instance, if people got unruly, there was that send a message, so like the message will be like, pull the one that has the most vocal or most problems, put him out, whip him to death right in front of everybody, and that was the message. You do this is what's going to happen. Well, they do that every so often and through history. You know what I mean? Like I'll give you an example. Like, I don't know, here in America, there was this man called named LeBoy Finnegan. He happened to be a very big voice on certain things that was basically fighting for his rights, that in turn fighting for all of our rights at the same time. They murdered him. All right. And there's a lot of other scenarios through history where it was like that, and they were
You
trying to
also
say
get the
it was a message, you know, in a sense. But until they get the same message, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like fight,
you,
fire, repair. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying this is like the thing is like this is how they play it. Well, what? Why are we the ones that are telling us not to be this, you know, violent type of a people are the ones that don't want us to fight them back? You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
don't
love
know.
thy enemy. I've always had a real problem with that.
Well, I
I
mean, the
struggle.
ones that are
I
telling us
struggle
this
to
are the
hate.
enemies.
I struggle to hate my enemy. You know, the fact that I'm a little incapable of it. I wonder sometimes if it's not an impediment.
Well, then you get into those type of emotions of hate. I mean, I agree. I see it. But I mean, you know,
Sometimes you have to put
a
things
lot of times
aside.
they're just
You have to put things
What's
aside. You know, sometimes you just have to put things aside and go, do you know what? That is so minimal of what I can be dealing with. I'm just going to put that in a box over there and I don't need to deal with it because it's bollocks. Bollocks. What I can do is this and look at your strengths and what you're good at and then go forward with those strengths and make those strengths grow. And if we all do that and connect up like we're doing, then that network will continue and filter through around the world if we do this. And but I don't see violence as a way forward. But what I do see
well, no, I
is
mean, I wouldn't
violence
say
that
that, but I mean, if put it this way, you know, there's an old Marine thing, you know, U.S. Marine thing. It's like it's just you always be polite until it's time to not be polite. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there
yeah.
is a line that that has to be there. You're gonna have to draw, and then and you can't let them over that a millimeter. You know what I'm saying? There has to be because otherwise they're just going to keep pushing, and take more and take more and take more until you have nothing, and you will own nothing, and you will be happy.
that line was crossed before I was born.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
yeah.
It's just crazy, you know what I mean? I was just like, you know, I personally, I started thinking about a lot of my ancestors that came to this country, and they were trying to get away from other countries that were,
Word.
yeah, already at that time kind of tyrannical. All right, you know, and imagine what they are today, you know, because actually my line goes, if I go further, so far back, it ends up in Ireland somewhere, but it's like it goes through a lot of parts of Europe, but it's like it goes the further back you go, it goes into Ireland, but
Nietzsche was right.
but I'm saying though, it's like I was, and to think that this country is turning into some of those other countries that everybody's trying to get away from,
It's the
it
only way it
bothers
can
me.
continue to exist.
It bothers me because I don't
We're
want
in
to.
comp.
There's nowhere for us to defect to when this goes down. You know what I
Yep,
mean?
yep. You just said it. That occurred to me
Unless I
about
can
20
build a
years
damn
ago.
spaceship, you know. Unless I can build I need a.
Elon,
I need
hashtag
a.
Musk.
Yeah, I need a TARDIS and a lightsaber, and I'll be set.
Well, it just so happens. It just so happens that if L. Ron Hubbard does come back, I'm sure he'll provide a spaceship with that 3 billion that he's got in the bank.
Well,
Nice.
I
Well, yeah,
mean,
I wanted to chime in. Sorry.
go ahead.
Well,
Well, this is a conversation that seems to be that comes up a lot, and unfortunately or fortunately seems to be coming up a little bit more. Is there is a real argument to be made that these people have already been violent towards us. It's a legitimate argument. However, I don't think that violence is the answer. I think that even if someone was to do what you said, Wingnut, and go ahead and clear out some folks,
Well, no,
especially
yeah, no, no, I'm not that guy. But like for
no, I
instance,
know.
I
I'm
think I think there's always an opposite equal reaction. All right. So what is the yin and yang of it? Like for instance, their reaction is to use violence against us all the way up to death. So what's the equal opposite reaction to defeat that? Even though we're not going to use the same tactics, which is violence and death, if we're not going to use that, what's the equal opposite reaction to defeat that? That's what I want to search for, and that's what I'm still looking for. Completely, because
That's a great question, doing that.
yeah, I can't. I'm not a Care Bear where I can just sit and shoot rainbows out of my chest and defeat.
Not yet, you haven't. But to use a liberal cliche, love trumps hate, man. I really think that that you can't solve a problem with the same form of consciousness that created it. And Einstein may have been a weird dude, but man, did he have a whole bunch of dope quotes. The thing is, like, even if someone was to do that, and like, let's just say that was the equal and proportionate reaction for it, still is not going to do us any good pragmatically. Because if that happens right now, I guarantee if that was to happen right now, and I decry that, I would decry that, and I decry all acts of violence. But I am someone that supports a healthy right to self-defense, and I've left myself open to argument here, obviously. But if that was to happen, and let's just say clear out some folk, well, then unfortunately, the way the system is, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of power-hungry people waiting to fill their shoes and are glad that those people are gone, and then they just insert themselves in power. And what would happen is, because the media still has such control over everyone, they would say, oh, it looks like a Trump-supporting January 6er had enough. He was believing QAnon conspiracies, and he took out our fearless leaders. That would turn them into martyrs, us into even more crazy people, and that would also give the government yet another reason to take our rights and use force upon us. So I don't think that's the answer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I always say the only problem with January 6th is that they left.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know people that were there. I know people that were fully armed when they went there, and they were not there to do.
I never have you on my stream.
Well, they
Can I say something else to you guys too that I think would benefit Denizen and Wingnut Radio? I had the same thing happen as you, Wingnut. They took down my whole first one, and then they pulled channels, pulled videos saying misinformation or bullying, right? So what I've done now, and I'm open to criticism on this, but what I've done now is I keep a channel where I talk a bunch of bad stuff, a bunch of naughty stuff, and then that's why we're creating PSYOP, right? That's why we've created PSYOP, so we can go on YouTube, tell people some stuff, and then say, hey, you want the real juicy stuff? Come over to PSYOP.tv. What I would suggest to you guys is to, unfortunately, YouTube is where a lot of people are. So if you want to be on YouTube, and our goal is to try to reach as many people as possible, I would say maximize your potential to reach as many people as possible. And what I would suggest doing, and I'm open to criticism and feedback on this, would be to not say certain things. You can make code words up, and that's what I've done, and I've been fairly successful at it too. You don't. There's certain things that you just don't want to say. You don't want to say this. You don't want. There's certain things that you just don't want to say, and you can allude to it in other ways. And what I would suggest doing is, once you get to the point where you think this might not be monetized friendly, because I mean, what's the point of making YouTube videos if they're going to get buried or shadow banned or deleted? Right. You know what I'm saying? We're here to reach people. Then you got your website, your other channel, your PSYOP TV account to rely upon. Once you've kind of baited them a little bit with some juicy stuff, and you bring them over there. Because otherwise, to me, like, I have a couple different channels. One, I just speak some shit, and then the others, I just like, all right, I'm going to try to get as many people over here, and I'll give my message, but I'm going to do it in a slightly different way so I can reach people.
I 100% agree. I'm trying to do the same exact thing. Every time they strike me, I'm like, okay, here goes another thing that I'm just going to drive around, or find a way to send messages under the door, which, if I could, that reminds me, please subscribe to my backup channel. I just put that in the link because I'm literally doing what he just described. I find it's a necessity if you're on YouTube and you want to say the things that we want to say. And so on that channel, I'm trying to get to 100 or whatever it is so that I can get a nice, cool URL. On my main channel, which is DenizanX, I'm trying to get to 500 so that I can community post, which is like more my style of interaction. So if it could help me get to 500, I'd appreciate that. And the other channel is called DenizanX Live. And I put my Discord in there too. If anybody wants to keep in touch with me when I'm not live, Discord's the best way. Thank you for the opportunity for that shameless self-promotion.
That's what it's all about. No, seriously. Do you know what? I was a little bit hesitant at 5:15 this morning when Will and I were chatting away, and we came up with this idea of a live. And I said, well, what about tonight? And he checked his diary, and he was actually free. Well, this afternoon, in his case. And it's worked out really well. I've been watching the chat. All right, there's been a few issues, but do you know what? The vibes coming out from the chat have been great. And I just want to say thanks, because you've all got into the spirit of it. You've all put your own slant on things as well. And it's just great to see so many new faces, or let's say faces, new names coming in. Please make sure that everybody gets the opportunity to get everybody's channel in there, please, guys. So that we can share links, get to know each other, go over, speak to them. Apparently, from a YouTube point of view, you can't just go say, yes, I'm going to support you and you have to support me, etc. Apparently, there's certain things you have to do, like watch 5 minutes of a video, like make a comment or whatever. But someone will know the ins and outs of that. But more people
to help the algorithms and stuff, after you shut the stream down, just put a comment in the stream, anything like that to get us out there and voices heard. Really, that's amazing.
Everyone, put your favorite member of the Wu-Tang Clan in the comments. Mine's Inspector Deck.
Right? ODB. I mean,
whoever it is, what's your favorite member of the Wu-Tang? If you don't know who the Wu-Tang Clan is, check out the song I talked about earlier, Impossible. The song was recorded in like 97 and it's talking about all the stuff we're talking about there. So if you get some free time to enjoy one of these Bad Larrys and do that, put your favorite Wu-Tang member, or if you don't like the Wu-Tang Clan, first of all, tell us why, and we will send a member of Homeland Security over to detain you.
If someone could put a link in for that particular song, I'm sure we can sort something out.
Put your favorite musician in the chat. If it's not a member of the Wu-Tang Clan, explain why. I want a detailed thesis.
Well, I've never heard of him until today, so I'll give it a listen. How's that?
I personally grew up with heavy metal and punk fans.
Grim,
right, we got
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Method. We got a lot of ODB in there. Okay. Method Man is the most popular. He blew up first, and he is awesome. I mean, his flow is just impeccable, and he's so witty and intelligent. But
NWA. Inspector
Deck from A and NWA, whoever you guys like, as long as it's the Wu-Tang Clan and Inspector Deck.
Can I blatantly promote myself as well as Denison's done it?
Everyone can promote themselves.
So what I'm going to be doing is I will do a series of about Scientology, as we're all starting to see what it is and it's getting out there. If you are in the States and you're near a Scientology building, go and film it. Go and film it. Everywhere. Go and film them. If you're in the UK and you live near a Scientology building, go and film it. Go and film it. Because the more we expose them, the more chance these people are going to be woken up that Xenu really isn't.
We need hidden cameras.
I say blatant cameras because that's me.
Me personally nowadays, man, if I was to do cop watching like I used to, I'm more of a, and nowadays if I was, which I'm more of like an Overwatch type person. I'm more of like a zoom, a really zoom lens, a parabolic microphone, or a drone or something like that, so I can sit back, way back, and watch the whole scene from a distance. You know what I mean? And it'd be like back, to watch the whole thing. And that's more like my style. Or hidden cameras. That'd be more like my style. I
Go
think
for it.
because I mean honestly, man, it's like when I was doing it, it was before the internet and all that stuff. So getting information out off of a VHS, was like it was kind of hard to get it out. But the thing is like we noticed back then. And it's like even though it's like kind of like they don't care if they're on camera now, but they act different when they don't know they're being recorded. But like I said, a lot of cops nowadays, they just do it. I don't care. They don't even care if they're being recorded. They'll still do it.
Even if you don't want to put it on your own channel, we'll send it to Will.
Well, investigative reporters is really a rarity. People that really dig into it and find the skeletons in the closet type of thing.
Yeah. I want it.
I can think of a few amateurs off the top of my head who would probably think that they are detective investigator reporters. If you've enjoyed this, I would like you to put a comment in the chat when I close it. I've got to get some sleep, folks. I've been up since the early hours of this morning, as you probably heard. And unlike a lot of people, I am working tomorrow, so I've got to have my eyes open. So I'm going to close the show.
One more thing before you go close the stream.
I haven't finished yet. So jumping in.
Okay, sorry.
I don't abuse you when you're hosting.
Sorry, Graham. I did a will then.
But you see, I've got a good way of coming back on you, but that's another point. Go on, what were you saying? What's so important?
The thing that's so important is, but also, Masonic lodges. Go and you have a camera. You have every right to go and film. If you've got a camera in your hand, you can film absolutely fucking anything. There is no law to stop you. Nothing to stop you. If you want to go and do that again is a little bit of activism that you can do individually with a camera. Take that camera, go and film it. If you're not wanting to put it on your own channel, we can put it on our channels, and really try and help each other against and fight the activism that. Sorry, I'm getting all confused. And basically be a little activist yourself is what I'm saying. Anyway, thanks, Grim, for having me. I really appreciate it. I'll shut up now.
Not for long. What basically I think is not everybody wants to put anything to do with auditing, stroke activism, etc., on their own videos on their own channels, because sometimes they just don't have anything. So let us know. We can sort it out. We've got the means to be able to get it uploaded, etc. There are ways and means of doing things. We can even put it on PSYOP, and then if it's within the terms and conditions, etc., of YouTube, we can put it up on YouTube for you and give you full accreditation either way. If that's what you want, if you want to be anonymous, then that's fine. It can be from anonymous. I think we may have to word it because of copyright. I think it's a group called Anonymous. But I just want to say that I've really enjoyed this. It's been a great night. I would like to do it again. I'd like to try and sort this out on a regular basis. This is a neutral area where people can come in and we're all adults. There's only one rule, and that's respect each other. Don't respect. Bye. Simple as that.
Hey, Grim.
Yeah.
I was going to say about the auditors and stuff like that. I would suggest for people that are getting into it, please research the law before they get into it. Don't just believe whatever you watch, like some video on YouTube or whatever, and take what they're doing is the right thing.
That's great advice.
research the law before you do it, so you know exactly where you stand. You know what I'm saying?
And if
Know
it
you're in the right.
reinforces your current beliefs, double check. And the greatest form of revenge is living well. So I submit to you that consider not acting as a form of activism. Remove yourself from your mental torpor, and instead of trying to resist the system, separate yourself from it.
Yep. Yeah, good advice if you're able to do that. I've got to come to Will. I've got to say thank you because he is tired. I can see it. He's starting to waver a bit there.
No, I got my iced coffee, and you know what?
Your iced coffee.
I will do a little promotion, self promotion. I am now commander of Van Capistan. Formerly, I was only an intermediate supervisor, but now I've promoted myself shamelessly to commander of Van Capistan. So please all call me your honorable. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to chatting up with you guys on my channel real soon. We should get a panel like this. As Grim said, I've been stupid busy lately, but within the next couple weeks, I'm going to be freeing up a lot and getting my schedule more solidified. So I'm looking forward to more chats like this, and I invite all you guys on. Just if you come on my channel, don't talk about. You can just say this, and don't talk about overthrowing the government by violence, anyways. Okay.
No, everything's by peace anyway. I wouldn't wish anyone to fall foul of any rules. Work within them. You still get your message across. If you go, I don't actually agree with using code names, etc. But the wizards one seems to work a lot.
Well, they are wizards. I mean, Bill Gates himself admits he's like, I'm a minor wizard. He actually said that. I didn't believe that he said that. They're self-described wizards. And that's
he plays like it's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's like what is it? It's one of those like online games. I know people that actually used to play with him.
Geopolitics?
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it's kind of like World of Warcraft back then. You know, it's like online. He used to. I don't know if he still does it, but I know people that actually used to play on his team and stuff. Back in the day.
Actually, we're gonna take a segment of this population. Well, I totally lost where I was going. I got into full Bill Gates mode right there. I was.
I thought it was so funny when somebody splattered that pie in his face. I was like, that was just perfect.
I do decry violence, but that is you know how people watch the ASMR, the satisfying videos. That just satisfies me. I mean, I decry it like that, but it is sheer.
Well, you remember back in the day, it's like, you used to be able to throw tomatoes at the politicians. You know what I mean? It's like. They really know exactly how you feel.
There's some kind of poetic justice to it. Like to me, Leonardo da Vinci painted art, but also the guy who threw that pie in Bill Gates' face, he was painting art.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's called self-expression.
That's a new form of avant-garde art. They just don't get it yet. It's just like Hunter Biden's art or John Podesta's art, Tony Podesta's art. It's art. You guys just don't understand. It's like spirit cooking.
Hey Grim, I want to thank you very much for letting me up, man.
No worries, Wingnut.
Thank you.
I remember the first time we spoke.
Wingnut,
I could tell from.
Sorry. Got to connect again and do an interview thing together.
Well, just my shameless plug, just to let everybody, if they don't know already, my YouTube channel is called Anarchy Television. I have a second one that's called Anarchy TV #, like a number symbol, number 2. So, and I do a lot more of the like chat type of stuff on the second one because I was trying to separate it from my main channel because. I don't know. There's a lot of the YouTube streets floating around, and I'm all over YouTube. You know what I mean? I'm all over following the whole movement of the Bill of Rights auditors, in a sense, if you want to call it, here all over here in America and all over around the world. And then I'm a survivalist at heart, so plus I'm a communication. I still talk on CB radio. Those are the things that I kind of do. But there was a lot of that stuff that's kind of spilling over into my main channel. I just kind of wanted to separate. So, but anyway, I appreciate you, Graham. I appreciate you.
That's why it was, because you kept getting stuff get taken down every
Yeah.
time you put it up. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Listen, guys, whatever you do, be very careful in relation to what you say, how you say it, especially on mainstream media, because the mainstream media is owned and operated by corporations, not by people.
Yeah, YouTube's owned by Google. Google owned by Alphabet company. Yeah, so I mean, it's all owned by somebody.
So, and I always say, don't believe everything you hear on social media. Do your own research. And especially if you are going out, to get to know what the local laws are. And if you're in Scotland, double check what the laws are, because Scottish law is a bit of a minefield. But do you know what? I have enjoyed it. I am going to organise another one of these again. Don't know when, but I will do, because this has gone really well. Try and get some other people over from the States, other auditors, get their viewpoints on things. And you might find that they have a different approach. Doing Denison, Will, and Wingnut. I'm not saying you're auditors, but you're certainly creators. So from that point of view, that's what I would say. Make sure you double check everything, and I will arrange for another session sometime in the future. Try and get a few more people up, and if we can't do it on here, we will do it on psyop.tv.
Thanks, Graham.
Depending on what we need to do, but I will be putting adverts out, etc., and putting links in and promos for it for when we do get around to it. Catwoman, hey, thank you for dropping in. We're just about to close. Sorry. But you can watch it back on the restream. Cat is one of the nice auditors, shall we say. I've never heard her swear or anything, honestly. Even when she was arrested, allegedly.
Thanks for having me, Graham, and thanks for inviting me on. I really appreciate it.
It's not a problem. Thank you for coming up, and
bye, guys.
Chatting. Bye now.
Bye, Jay.
And then it was left. Oh, he's gone. I was just about to say goodbye to him. Well, Mello, thanks for turning up, mate. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And chipping in. I love reading.
Thanks for having me on, Graham. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah. Listen, guys.
Good to see you again, Mellows. Thank you.
Please hit the like button. Put a comment in the main chat afterwards. Cheers now. I'm going to close up, wishing you all the best. Stay safe, everyone. And please, please, stop bickering amongst each other over nothing, because it's just not worth it. It really isn't. Let's try and work together a little bit more. All right, then. I'm going now. Thanks very much. It's been a great night. Take care of yourselves, guys, and enjoy the rest of the bank holiday for those who are over here and not working. Bye.